We've got tons of action on the Race All-Star Series, fully and powered by Rocket Phones. We've got another championship, another great series to bring you, and here's what it's all about. This series brings together some of the biggest rear-wheel drivers and sim racers and some of the most respected legends of motorsport. Drivers that include Jenson Button, Emerson Fittipaldi, Dario Franchitti, Juan Pablo Montoya, and Pettis Solberg. They're all going to be back in the virtual world, and we're battling it out in our Legends Trophy. We then have stars from Formula One, World Endurance Championship, Formula E, and Indycar taking part in the Pro Cup. Then we have the very fastest drivers from the world of sim racing battling it out in the Sim Master Championship. Some of these guys have won the world's fastest gamer and gone on to real cars. Others have won numerous championships online, and this action will all take place in one of the most realistic platforms that we have available in R Factor 2. And of course, the action is going to be incredible. It was in the last series, the last couple of weeks we've done this. My name is Matt Trivett. I'll be joining you again for this series. As we start off, we have Gillian Palmer with us once more. And Gillian, we've got some changes in format, but we're back. That's the main thing.
Yeah, very happy to be back. And I'm quite happy with the changes of the format. I think, don't get me wrong, the last one was great. We had a really good championship, and it's good to be back starting a new one. But a bit of change can be good. And separating the pro races from the sim races is obviously the main thing, on top of keeping the legends. But even then, having the reverse grid format as well, it's exciting.
Yeah, and we'll get to that as well, because there's a bit of a different way the reverse grid's done, as we'll take a look at the schedule and some of the way this championship's going to work. First and foremost, like you said, we've got a bit of a division. We've pulled the pro drivers into a race of their own, and it's good for them because we know the sim drivers have been kind of ahead, but it also isn't as cutthroat for the sim drivers in some ways, because previously only 5 of them could make the final. Now they've got an open championship among them, and of course then it's the Legends Trophy. That's been a ton of fun to watch, and I think most people would say probably the most fun because it's got so many names that we're familiar with, and the action's been incredible. Our schedule for today, the races are a little bit longer because we've got it down to 6 races in this format, and that means we get more on-track action overall. And I think, as we say, Legends Trophy reverse grid race, that's usually good fun, but that's the one to look forward to. I don't know if you feel any differently, Gillian.
I'm kind of looking forward to all of them because it's the start of a new series. The Legends Trophy is always brilliant action, and I'm expecting fully the same. I think the reverse grid for the Pro Cup and the Sim Masters, to be honest, I'm quite intrigued because the level of sort of driving standards is probably a bit higher than the Legends Trophy. But when you've got still the fastest guys starting from the back, there's that propensity for chaos again.
Absolutely, and chaos is great and entertaining. Don't forget as well, there's $25,000 available for the winner of the Legends Trophy for charity this time, but that includes the whole championship. And we've also got some incredible manufacturers on board this time as well. Aston Martin has signed up to be a part of this. BMW is involved now as well. Incredible to see them here, as well as Mercedes-AMG Petronas Esports, Rocket Venturi Racing, Williams Esports, and Bentley Motorsport, which is some of the greatest manufacturers in racing, now involved in sim racing, more and more support. And I think that's incredibly cool, Gillian, to have these guys here. And seeing more and more interest from the others, I guess the real world side.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just taking it on and on the whole time. We've got a massive grid of pro races as well to give us even more action.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that, we've got a chance to actually speak to one of our legends right at the top of the show. We've got so many more guys we'll mention as we get into this. But first and foremost, Helio Castroneves, I believe, is on the line. Hello, Helio. Can you hear me?
How you doing, guys? Great to see you.
Yeah, great to see you as well. And thanks for asking. Doing very well. I hope everyone at home is in the same position. This is a new championship, new format, a bit more of an open, open format for you. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, obviously, my expertise in the sims are not very good at the moment. But I tell you what, I'm having such a great time with the incredible drivers, incredible legends, and it's just so much fun, to get involved into this situation. So can't thank enough everyone to organize this. And I tell you what, I am looking for every Saturday to actually start practicing and racing against those guys. The only guy I want to beat is Gilles de Ferran because he actually is my neighbor, believe it or not. He lives just like 4 or 5 houses from me. So the only guy that I'm looking for is that one.
You actually beat me to my next question. I was going to ask you because these are some friends and rivals. But, you could just sneak down the road and unplug his internet. No one would notice.
Actually, that's a great idea. But if I do that, I'll unplug mine too, so I can't.
Fair enough. Well, hey, listen, thanks for joining us. Best of luck. With that, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we'll get into more of the action.
Thanks, guys.
All right, and welcome back. For those of you joining us on the live stream, we'll continue to get into things because there's a lot to discuss. Pretty cool that Helio, I do love the rivalry. It's a bit of banter for those guys. It's a lot of fun between friends, I think, as well as a competition.
They've all got so much respect for each other. That's the thing. There's quite a big sort of Champ Car, IndyCar contingent over the pond that take it seriously, and obviously Helio and Gilles living very near each other, knowing each other very well. I think there's a lot of that in the Legends race, and it all adds a little bit to the spice and the drama. They respect each other a lot. They race each other very hard, but they have fun, and that's the main thing.
And I have heard Gilles de Ferran was one of the more vocal guys. There's lots of guys involved in it. Helio and Gilles are just two of them. We've obviously seen Jenson Button, Jan Magnussen. That was probably the highlight race at Lime Rock in the first season. But here's a look at many of the names and many of the drivers preparing, not just in the Legends Trophy, but also some of the sim guys that are set up.
Okay, Anthony Davidson, are you there?
Yeah, I think it's. I mean that race between Jenson Button and Jan Magnussen was just. It was a cracker, wasn't it? Lime Rock, and those two really emerged as the stars of the show, really, in the Legends in terms of being consistently at the front, and they will start, I think, as probably the favourites. But also, you've got a few others that have been quick: Pirro, Montoya, Franchitti as well, and new car, new track. Who knows?
Yeah, well, and not only that, if you missed any of it, you've already mentioned the highlight overall probably, but there was tons of action. We'll look back right now at season 1 to show you what you may have missed, or hey, maybe you want to remember because it was awesome.
Away we go in the Legends Trophy. Oh, big moment there right off the start. And there is a few collisions, late on the brakes and gets it in. That's a great move from Andy Prio. Franchitti tries the dummy, super late on the brakes. Oh, that's carnage. Oh, Turner and Fernandez. That was a bit rude from Turner, wasn't it?
Jenson's really wringing the neck of that car. Look at that, he's so close.
Across the curb, across the grass.
Franchitti surely now up the inside.
Oh, but is he going to get Kanan as well? 2 and 1. Nice move from Dario Franchitti.
Oh, Button's round. He went for a do or die, and that's why Darren Turner then ended up in a big old barrel roll.
And past Castro Neves. Round he goes. Juan Pablo Montoya. He sends it on Mika Salo. Up the inside, no trouble at all. And across the line to win the Legends Trophy race. And he's happy with that one.
You got to love Jenson Button cheering to the camera there. Even he took that as a win. Obviously, he's embraced this sim stuff. He's super involved now. And we had some incredible stuff all the way through. It was a look back, but we look forward to this season. And don't miss any of it. Follow all of the social media. Hit subscribe down below at We Are The Race on Twitter and Instagram. We'll see you in a sec. And welcome back to the Race All-Star Series powered by Rocket Phones. We're getting very close to starting off the day with a big bang and in a big way. And of course, we've got to bring in a big voice to do that. Jack Nichols is now joining us to accompany you. Julian, I'm sure you could do it all yourself. I know you can carry the load, but hey, this guy's got to give you a break every now and then.
All Jolien wants to do is lead commentary. Every time we're doing 5 Live Formula One, he's like, shall I do lead commentary this weekend? Shall I have a go?
All you want to do is the expert role. So we'll just swap around. You're getting your sim mileage up and we're nearly ready to go.
Okay, you do the start of the first race, yeah? Deal?
Yeah, fine, done.
Okay. Done.
Well,
Great.
guys,
No, I'm really
happening
looking
now,
forward to this new format, Matt. Really excited for another sort of 5-week mini season of May and new cars, new circuits. It's going to be really cool.
It is going to be very cool. I'm glad you got us back on track there because I was a little worried you guys were going to get carried away because on track is exactly where we need to go. That's where we're going to start. We've got the Malaysian circuit this week. You mentioned it as well, Jack. We've got new cars, but first and foremost, I guess we'll take a look at this circuit. Gillian, you've been there. You actually have raced there in the past. For me, it's a circuit I really like the flow of. In sim, I've always enjoyed it. It's a bit disappointing it's not on the F1 calendar anymore, but I think it was a standout.
It was a standout. I absolutely loved it, I have to say. Got my first F1 point there in 2016, and I generally just really enjoyed it. It was always so hot and humid and had something special about it on the calendar. But the corner layout is brilliant. A lot of long, fast sweepers in the middle sector, brilliant chance of overtaking as well into the last and the first corner. And just a really nice flowing track overall.
And there's a bit of a difference as well. Obviously, first and foremost, we're not in the Le Mans prototypes anymore for the pro and sim guys. They're in the Formula Race, a car we've got for this series. Probably, I think, similar to, you were saying, a GP2, Julian?
Yeah, to me, it looks like a cross between an old World Series or like the original GP2. It's a good car. A high-powered single-seater, basically.
BT44B for the Legends, so still an old school Formula One, tons of grunt, tons of rear end sliding around. And the biggest difference, just in case you didn't notice it on the graphic, it's 50% damage now for the sim and pro guys. So a little bit more, I guess, it's a little bit more punishing, and you're in a Formula car, so you're already trying to avoid damage as it is. There's tons of pro drivers joining us. As we say, they're now in their own race. We've got, again, manufacturers, and one of the guys that's actually joined us and joined a manufacturer is Anthony Davidson, who's kind of joined in with the Mercedes guys. I think he's standing by.
Yeah, great to hear from Anthony Davidson, who's been getting involved in this sim racing world. Anthony, how are you doing?
I'm really good, thanks. Yeah, how are you?
Yeah, good. How are you enjoying your debuts in the world of sim racing? You've been doing it for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, a couple of weeks. I've got a new bespoke bit of equipment here. Really good. So yeah, getting used to this. Only had it for a week, but I've never really been an online sim gamer as such. I do, as you know, the Mercedes development work in their sim. It's a very different world compared to hunting for lap times any way possible in a computer game. But it's really good fun. I'm really enjoying myself.
Yeah, it's a pretty serious piece of kit you got there, I have to say. What are your hopes for the race today? Have you got any targets, or just see what happens?
Well, I mean, I've never done a race before, as you probably know, on the race or with our Factor platform. So, no, it's all really new to me. I was literally just getting up and running 2 days ago. I couldn't even make my steering wheel work and configure it with the game. I was really just pulling my hair out. But I got there in the end, and now I'm getting up to speed. So I think for my first race, top 10 would be really good. And I think it's a realistic target.
Okay, cool. Best of luck. Thanks for joining us.
Cheers.
So great to have Anthony Davidson here. Honestly, I would have put Davidson more towards the Legends category, if I'm being honest. Maybe that's a bit generous. I don't know.
I think he could have easily fit into either. Certainly a talent. Hopefully he doesn't run around in a server by himself like he did in the F1 race, but he's not our only pro driver. We've got some returning names that were standouts and some new guys coming in. Here's a look through them. I'll let you guys introduce them because you guys saw them all racing every weekend that we had in the past, and some of them were great.
Well, yeah, and what we've also got is the teams for this championship. So Charlie Eastwood and Nicky Team together at the Aston Martin team. Buncombe and Morris together for Team Crew. Philip Eng and Bruno Spengler for BMW. You saw Anthony Davidson's there for Mercedes. Jack Aitken out there as well. And then we've got some of the drivers we've seen before, like Harry Newey, who's always, maybe approaching the front. James Collado is coming straight over from doing a Formula E race. Bradley Smith has been a front runner. Harry Tinknell's been getting there or thereabouts. The list goes on and on. Sebastian Montoya did a great job, actually. Aged just 15, he made it through to the final for the first time, last time out. So a load of pro drivers, which is great to see, Matt.
Great to see. And when we come back, we will get into qualifying for the first race with the pro drivers. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you in just a second. Well, we touched on the fact that it's going to be the Malaysian circuit, obviously, for this race. It's a bit longer in lap time than some of the others that we have seen, and it is very familiar with Formula cars. So to have the Formula race car that we now do in this game on this track should be very well suited to these drivers. It's a little bit more car as well. We've got an onboard lap that we're going to look through because this will give you a perspective of a little bit more speed and, of course, the flow of this place.
Yeah, it's a good track, as I was saying, and a great chance to overtake, I think, in these cars. High-power single-seaters, and this is one of the main zones there. Big braking zone down for turn 1, which leads immediately into turn 2, right into the left. But then if you get that wrong, you're going to be punished on the way out because there's another chance to overtake on this next long straight up the hill into the braking zone for turn 3 at the top here. So 3 really good chances to see some side-by-side scrapping before we get into now the middle sector and the nice fast sweepers that all the drivers really enjoy. And note, it's quite bumpy as well on board here. I think we're going to see some drivers struggling with the bumps, maybe affecting big oversteer, tank slappers through the corners. And then this area, always you pick up a bit of understeer through the second of those 2 rights before another bit of a straight into the left-hand hairpin here. But this one is not such an overtaking area, but it is a chance to get things very wrong.
Yeah, I've always loved it. I mean, there's been some great races here in the past as well. Even you go back to Sergio Perez nearly winning on this circuit, but there's just so much history. And of course, weather's a factor at this place, but it's got everything, a little bit of everything, I think, Jack.
And it's one of those circuits that, you know, when it was initially brought onto the calendar, it was a Tilkedrome, boring, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, as it progresses, we now think of it as a great sort of historic racetrack with loads of memories. But it is a shame that Formula E doesn't go here. Malaysia, a wonderful country. Love Kuala Lumpur. Love Kuala Lumpur. An amazing Mexican restaurant in Kuala Lumpur I went to. Delicious.
Yeah, very, very cool. And it's great that we're here in Sim. I've often said that, tracks that don't even exist anymore or that we want to remember, Sim's a great way to archive those as well. And obviously, Malaysia's still around and is still used for other things, but it's just an interesting topic. The competition on track is not the only competition going on today. In fact, we've got one for you guys at home. The Rockets smartphone, actually, is something that you can attain by heading over to their website, where you can see it now down below, rocketphones.com. All you've got to do is name the 2 drivers on the Williams Formula One team this year to be entered into that. And if you want to get a discount on maybe some of the earbuds that they've got, you can use the promo code RACEOFFER to do so. So head over there and check that out. We're going to get ready because qualifying is about to start, and it's going to be extremely important. Welcome back again to the Race All-Star Series powered by Rocket Phones. We are very close to getting into our first qualifying for the pro drivers. And as we know, the Malaysian circuit will be a bit more of a challenge with a bit more of a car underneath of them. A few drivers stood out in the past. Lots of rivalries on the grid, Jack, but I think there's a couple head-to-heads certainly to look forward to.
Yeah, well, there's so many drivers in this grid, aren't there, that are really going to be tough to watch. But we've picked out a couple of them to keep an eye out on over the course of over the next few races, especially with these different formats as well. I think that's going to, because before you've seen drivers kind of spread around a bit and then maybe they come together in the final, but we haven't really seen rivalries developed in the way that we have with sort of a Magnussen-Button Legends trophy. So, for example, Bruno Spengler, the BMW Works driver, up against Esteban Gutierrez, who's a Mercedes Works driver, the 2010 GP3 champion. Esteban Gutierrez. So great to see those 2 out together, which is going to be a good fight. But we've got cars out on circuit for the first race of the day. So let's check in with the action around the Malaysia circuit. Going to be really, really fun to watch. And because it's quite a long track, I think we're only going to be seeing sort of 1-lap runs in this, I would have thought, Jolien, because we've only got 4 minutes left on the clock already.
Yeah, and it takes over a minute and a half to do a flying lap, and they don't get to complete the lap they're on. Normally we time out shortly after the checker flag waves. So here we go, Bruno Spengler, one of our drivers to watch, just on an out lap. And Spengler was getting quicker and quicker as well, late to the series, but impressive when he was in. I think it was Lime Rock, his first event maybe, but yeah, he's been quite quick. Gutierrez as well, who was in championship contention last time but didn't quite make it. it's a competitive field.
So here comes Bruno Spengler, weaving around as he comes down the back straight to try and get temperature into those tyres, which is going to be a very important part of the running through the final corner. You've got Esteban Gutierrez up at the top there as well as he swings through the down the back straight. But Spengler across the line then to start his flying lap down towards turns 1 and 2. Interesting to see what Spengler can do as he gets onto the brakes into the right-hander. There you see him in the inset in the bottom left.
Looking nice and neat through the first couple of corners. Oh, until I said that, and then he had a big wobble on the way out, just eager on the throttle out of turn 2. That will have cost him a fair amount of time there, getting so crossed up when he needed to get a great exit for that run up to turn 3, where he's up to now. So it was looking good on the apexes, but just chasing the throttle a bit too much. And that may well have cost Spengler a bit of time. You can see in the inset, he's still fighting the car a lot over those bumps through this fast section, the left and then the right, and then now the double right here. So easy to wash wide through these two apexes. Remember Vitaly Petrov doing that in the Lotus, and he completely shattered his steering column. Ended up down at the hairpin with no steering wheel on the car, basically.
Memory. That's a good memory. As Spengler now comes through this final sequence of corners, he'll come down the back straight now, and you can see the times on the left-hand side, or the tower on the left-hand side, because no times set just yet. And here comes Spengler. Sorry, now he's coming down the back straight, isn't he? Through that final right-hander, past the support pits on the right-hand side, and over the support grid hatchings, and down towards this final left-hander at the final corner. And we'll see what he can do. Anthony Davidson in the pits. So I don't know if Davidson has made a mistake out there potentially, but he's not in the running. Across the line comes Dillman to, well, here come the lap times, basically. Let's let him go through, because it's Buncombe who's at the top of the times. Alex Buncombe to the top, 2 tenths ahead of Esteban Gutierrez, 3 tenths ahead of Tom Ingram and Tom Dillman, and that is a very strong run from Alex Buncombe.
Great lap from Buncombe. There's still loads more. Look how many drivers we've got in this. We've only got the top 10 showing, which Martin Plowman's just got into, and then it's skipping right the way down the field. Qualifying will be critical. Buncombe's done a great lap, and Guerreri up to second. Chavez, one of the hot favourites last time out, has spun away his chances there because he won't get another lap.
Frustrating for Gavi Chavez then, as he goes spinning out of the running. And we're on board with Andreas Lascaratos. Oh, and he's losing the back end almost, coming out of the final corner. So these cars looking fairly lively, I have to say.
Exceptionally lively, particularly on power and particularly with oversteer. Basically, let's see Lascaratos into the final corner. Hooks up a reasonable apex there and manages to straight line the exit to avoid the wheel spin. But Spengler went only 27, 2.5 seconds off the pace. The rest of his lap looked really clean and nice, but he just had that massive tank slapper out of turn 2 and presumably had to get out of the throttle before the long straight and lost a heap of time. So the car's not looking easy to drive at all.
Alex Buncombe is the man who has taken pole position, a 10th ahead of Guerrieri, and that is a really, really strong run from Alex Buncombe. If you haven't come across Buncombe before, he's a very experienced GT racer, races for the Bentley team, hence racing with Seb Morris at Bentley here. And he has been competing recently in the GT racing series. Now he's moved to single-seaters, and he's straight into pole position. And, of course, that qualifying session also sets the grid for the reverse grid that we've got later on in the Pro Cup. So Buncombe right up there at the top, and I wouldn't have put my money on him. Very quick racer, very flexible racer in terms of what he can drive. He also races historics, I think, with quite a lot of success. Did he win Historic Le Mans a couple of years ago? And but Buncombe right up there.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't have had him as favourite, that's for sure. But he's done a great job, and it was a one-lap wonder for qualifying. So with so many cars in the field, mistakes cost you massively. Rather than going sort of first or 8th or 10th or whatever, they're like 30th now, some drivers that made mistakes, and that's a long way to come back in the race.
And that's especially with this 5-race series as well. But I guess if you have a bad qualifying, you're towards the front for the reverse grid race, and the reverse grid counts the same points-wise.
Yeah, it gives them a chance to get through it.
Alex Buncombe on pole position. Esteban Gutierrez alongside him on the front row of the grid. Esteban Guerrieri is in 3rd position. Agustin Canapino is in 4th spot. Then Charlie Eastwood 5th, Tom Ingram 6th, Tom Dillman 7th, Seb Morris completing the top 8. Then we are looking for Bradley Smith in 9th position. James Collado completing the top 10 ahead of Harry Newey and Martin Plowman. And then further back in the order on this big grid, we've got Michael Benya here, Nicky Thiem, Yifei Yer, Kevin Hansen. Really cool to see the liveries on these cars as well, actually. They've been given sort of a lot more flexibility for this one, so it's really starting to feel like a proper race series, isn't it? Aidan Millwood, who's in 18th place, Harry Tinknell 19th, Job Van Oyter in 20th position. And look at that field of cars. Absolutely huge. Heading all the way down to the back of the field. Philip Eng down in 23rd. He must have made a mistake. Watch him for climbing up the order as the race is about to get underway. The first race for the Pro Cup in the race All-Star Series. And away they go. And it's a good start from Buncombe. Gutierrez and Guerrieri are going side by side. Canapino is trying to get through as they get onto the brakes down into the right-hander. You're looking on board with Sean Gallard down at the back. There's a bit of contact, but I think everybody is safely through that first corner, and Gutierrez comes out on top in 2nd place, just about. As we go on board further back in the pack, Alex Buncombe is away in the lead of the race. Gallard's having all sorts of trouble in the top right, and he's down to 30th place.
Yeah, Buncombe did it all right, though, at the start. He covered the inside. Oh, he's gone quite deep on the brakes, the man we're on board with here. Oh, but not deep enough because he's got whacked from behind, and then he's just rejoined like an absolute sadist and taken out another load. So carnage down at turn 3.
Esteban Gutierrez and Esteban Guerrieri are right together in the battle for 2nd place, and Guerrieri in the yellow car, Gutierrez in the silver Mercedes coming into the left-hander. There you can see Guerrieri in the bottom left, gets the cut back. The two go side by side again, and all of this is allowing Alex Buncombe to just pull away. Up at the front, Guerrieri's in the gravel. Can he recover? Just about, without losing a place to Seb Morris, who's up in 4th. So the Bentley team running 1st and 4th at the moment. Harry Newey's gone from 12th to 5th. There was all sorts of chaos on that opening lap.
Yep. Gutierrez, though, is still in 2nd. He had a big lock-up on the rear tyres coming into to turn 10. Good side-by-side through 11, but Guerrieri gave Gutierrez space, and Gutierrez, I don't think, gave Guerrieri a lot of space on the run up to turn 12 there. So Guerrieri lost out, but as you say, still maintains 3rd position ahead of Seb Morris, who's had a good start. Harry Newey as well, and then Charlie Eastwood rounding out the top 6. There's so much action
kicking off
further down. It was tough to call what happened on the turn 3 incident there.
Yeah, all went chaotic in front of Anthony Davidson, who's now up into 18th place. Alex Buncombe still leading. Martin Plowman trying to defend from Tom Ingram as they come into turn 1. Once again, through the right-hander, someone locking up a bit further back. Worth pointing out that Alex Buncombe was actually part of when people would win the Nissan GT Academy, i.e. Lucas Ordóñez and Wolfgang Reip, who we've seen earlier on, they would often go into a team with Alex Buncombe in GT racing. So as a result, Buncombe's got his fair share of racing experience in that form, but I think he's relatively new to R Factor 2, certainly to R Factor 2 competition. As we see Harry Newey in the top right, and Buncombe leading 2.3 seconds ahead of Gutierrez. Guerrieri's in 3rd, World Touring Car front runner. Seb Morris is 4th, former British GT racer, or current British GT racer, I'd say. Teammates with Rick Parfitt Jr. he was a few years ago. And Harry Newey's up into 6th. I think we've lost Agustin Canapino, who has been sim racing for a long time. I used to commentate on him in the Formula Sim Racing Championship about 10 years ago. But here he is back racing as we're watching Tom Ingram trying to chase Plowman. He's gone. Ingram's off in the wall.
Oh dear, and that's with more damage as well there. These single-seater cars, they're a bit more frail than the LMP3s that they were driving last week. So that's bad news for Tom Ingram. And again, it was just getting on the gas with too much steering lock. And just basically big wheel spin on the rear, overcorrected and in the wall. So that's a shame for Tom Ingram. And they lost a few places, and Shawley's picked up some reasonable damage with that one.
Of 7 for the race leader, Alex Buncombe. 2nd is Gutierrez. 3rd is Esteban Guerrieri. And then this is the battle with Nicky Thiem and Harry Newey. And Tim thought he got the dummy there, didn't he? But Harry Newey holds the place. There's a bit of contact there. And all of that is allowing Martin Plowman to join the fight as well.
Yeah, Newey, I think, is struggling for pace. Charlie Eastwood passed him actually on the last lap. And now Newey's dropped back from Eastwood and now holding up Nicky Thiem and Martin Plowman. And it seems like a matter of time with the amount of pressure he's under. He went in a bit hot there. This could get tight through this next section. But it's so hard to pass through this really quick left and then really quick right. Newey might have just made that error at the right time.
Come out in front. Gutierrez 1.7 seconds back. So I think Gutierrez is closing the gap a little bit to Alex Buncombe. And there's a yellow flag out there in Sector 2. Harry Newey still running in 6th place with Nicky Thiem in 7th spot. 8th is Martin Plowman, Ben Yahir and Johnny Adam completing the top 10 at the moment. Gap at the front down to 1.3 seconds as Newey makes a bit of an error there and a bigger error there.
Same corner as Ingram, and it all started on the way in with a big lock-up. Then he got wide. Then he had too much steering to do on the exit. Still jumped on the throttle, had a big wheel spin, and round she went. So Harry Newey then was fighting the car a lot, and in the end the car won.
On board with Michael Ben Yahir. Onto the brakes, into the left-hander, and out across the line. You can see Ben Yahir really fighting with the car, isn't he? Meanwhile, you've got Tom Ingram in the inset trying his recovery drive. He's up into 12th place at the moment, trying to get past the cars ahead of him. Still, the gap at the front is about 1.3 seconds between Alex Buncombe and Esteban Gutierrez. The closest battle still between Thiem and Plowman over 6th place as Ingram tries to make a move on Gabby Chavez. No last chance qualifier for Gabby Chavez to try and win this week. What's he going to do?
He's going to be lost without it, isn't he? That pretty much brought him right into title contention in the last series. But now, I have to say, he's probably having a good drive here because he's spun on his qualifying lap. Must have started right down the back. And now he's 11th, charging onto the back of James Collado for 10th place. So Chavez is having a really good race. But that qualifying error, I think, has meant he's had to do a lot of overtaking and avoid a lot of carnage, which he's doing so well so far. Gutierrez is closing slightly on Buncombe now, just 1 second for the race lead. And all these drivers, they're struggling so much on the throttle because remember, these are much more highly powered cars than they're used to. We had the Tatus before, which is like equivalent to a Formula 4 car. We had the LMP3 car last time out, which again was a low-powered sports car. Now we've got the equivalent of an early GP2 car, suddenly a load more power. That makes the traction more difficult and some bumps as well. And we're seeing a lot of errors here.
I have to say, I did some laps in the LMP3 car at the Nürburgring, and it was fairly forgiving, to be perfectly honest with you. Out of a really slow corner, you could get a bit of wheel spin, but apart from that, it was just fully back on the throttle, no worries. But that certainly isn't the case with these single-seater race cars. We're watching Gabby Chavez in the bottom left. He's had that rig in inverted commas for many years, which is why it's fairly basic at the moment, but he's travelled all around the country with him. He's coming under big pressure from Tom Ingram as they come down the back straight in towards turn 1 and not able to make the move yet. Gutierrez though has now got the gap down to 0.8 of a second to Alex Buncombe in front, so I don't think it's going to be quite enough, to be perfectly honest, because we're on lap 5 of 7 now.
It could start to get tasty, and Buncombe will know this. He'll be able to look behind him and see Gutierrez getting closer and closer. And Gutierrez has basically halved the gap. Buncombe's got to deal with pressure, basically. How closely can Gutierrez follow with a bit of dirty air? At the moment, it looks like the cars are following not too badly as we look right back at Tom Ingram from the back of Gabby Chavez. He looks fine through that high-speed section. Not perfect, but we saw more issues with that with the LMP3, I think, last time out.
5 of 7. Here is Seb Prio running in 23rd position at the moment, and he's got a lot of drivers around him, quite frankly. James Collado is running in 10th spot. Points go all the way down the order, by the way, so there's a lot of opportunity for scoring points. They also have DRS in this car as well, once you're within a second of the car in front, so Gutierrez will get that assistance as he closes in on Buncombe, but how much of a difference is the DRS going to make? Gutierrez, though, whatever he finishes, wherever he finishes, has looked very, very quick here this afternoon. In fact, he and Buncombe have kind of been in a class of their own.
Well, remember, Guerrieri was sort of forced wide from Gutierrez on the opening lap, so that kind of bridged that gap second to third early on. But Gutierrez is quicker than anyone, I would say, and now that gap in the lead is less than 6/10 with the help of DRS down towards turn one. And Gutierrez, I tell you what, there's big pressure coming for Alex Buncombe out front.
Oh, this is going to be good stuff. Johnny Adam in ninth place is just in front of James Collado, and then it's Gabby Chavez still running in 11th spot in front of Tom Ingram, so not many place changes there as they come up towards turn 4 at the top of the hill, end of the first sector. And Chavez back on the power. Yellow flag out there in sector 3. Job van Uyter completing the top 15 at the moment. It's still 0.6 of a second between Buncombe and Gutierrez, but I guess it's the closing stage of the lap when Gutierrez has the DRS that's where he'll be closing in, not through the fast sweepers in the middle of the circuit.
Yeah, he's done a good job staying with him through the fast sweepers. Just half a second now. Then they're ahead of this battle that we're looking at with Collado and Chavez. So Gutierrez and Buncombe must be somewhere towards the back straight now. And I expect that half a second is going to come right down. And he's basically got one more dive into turn 1 possible, or later on the lap, because they're about to start the final lap, the leaders.
So, lap 6 of 7. Oh, that's a mistake. Gabby Chavez is in the gravel, just drifted out wide, and that caught him out. And now he has dropped a couple of places down to 13th position and behind Harry Tinknell. Down towards the final corner. Final lap of the race now for Buncombe, and he's only 0.3 ahead of Gutierrez, 0.2 ahead of Gutierrez. The battle for the lead on the final lap is going to go right down to the wire in the Pro Cup. You can see Gutierrez in the top right, closing in on the race leader, Alex Buncombe. The tyres are going to be going away a little bit now as well as they get onto the brakes. Up into turn 4, Gutierrez so late on the brakes. Better on turn-in, better through the corner. You can see him just with your eyes, obviously, as opposed to anything else, but where the lap time's coming from.
This is the part. He's just got to stay close now, 4/10, and he might have another run into the final corner. There's a back marker ahead as well. I've got no idea who that is they're catching, but Buncombe better pray that he gets through right now, otherwise it might be a lot more difficult. And Gutierrez, Buncombe's not going, oh, he is, bit of a lock-up, but he's got away with that, Alex Buncombe. A big tank slapper on the exit as well. Here comes Gutierrez.
Final corner of the race. Esteban Gutierrez right behind Alex Buncombe for the lead. They've got just the left and then the sort of double right to go. We're on board with Gutierrez now. He's going to have DRS. Is he going to wait and go early? No, Buncombe spins it. Well, he gets it sideways and Gutierrez overtakes him off the circuit. And Buncombe gets back on the power, and he now, ironically, is in the best place, surely. He's tucked underneath the rear wing. He looks to the outside. Can't get there. Goes back to the inside. Can he find the inside at the final corner? Gutierrez turns in. There's Buncombe trying to get the drive out and across the line, but it's not going to be enough. Esteban Gutierrez wins in the first race in the Pro Cup, and he is delighted with that one. Buncombe second, Guerrieri's going to be third. Here comes Michael Ben-Yahia. There's 3 wide for, what is this going to be, 6th position. Team 5th, Ben-Yahia 6th, Morris 7th. So Seb Morris lost a couple of places on that lap. What a final lap. If I'm being pedantic, Jolien, Gutierrez was all 4 wheels off when he made that move.
No, well, he was. Categorically, yes. But Buncombe was pointing 90 degrees across the track, so I don't think Gutierrez really had a choice but to try and avoid him. And that gap, I thought they were going to both come to blows, and Guerrieri was going to come through and win it right at the end, but they just scraped through. What a final lap between the two of them. That's kicked off this series in style, hasn't it?
Certainly has. Gutierrez, Buncombe, and Guerrieri, the top 3 then. There's still fights to be had out there. Here's Jack Aitken in 30th place at the moment, trying to make his way up the order, trying to nab one more position on the final lap of the race. He's got a good half of the lap to go, and I think he's going to get it here, is he, Aitken? Looking to the outside. Who's he behind? Kevin Hansen, that he's behind. And I think Hansen hasn't got a front wing. Yeah, indeed he hasn't. So that explains the chronic understeer that he appears to be struggling from. And if Aitken can't get this move done, that's not ideal, actually.
No, I was wondering why Hansen was quite so slow through that left-hander before the long right, and I don't know if Aitken is going to do this.
Go on, you just got to lunge it. Hansen surely is going to wash. Oh, he's going to go all the way around the outside. Aitken at the final corner. Has he pulled it off? They're still side by side. And, oh, it's Hansen. Hansen got it by due, I suppose, of having less downforce. So Gutierrez takes the win. Buncombe second. Esteban Guerrieri in third. A Mercedes win. Good points for Aston Martin. Buncombe finishing in second place. Eastwood fourth. Team fifth. And James Collado completed the top 10. I tell you what, there was action absolutely everywhere in that race, wasn't it? Absolutely brilliant stuff. Gutierrez and Buncombe right together at the end. There's championship points for all the way down the order. So it means that Esteban Gutierrez is at the top of the championship now. Tom Ingram had a busy race. He'll be a bit frustrated he couldn't finish in the top 10. A mistake for Gabby Chavez as well. Wow, that was very busy, but we've still got plenty more action to come.
What a race. What a finish. That was incredible. Last lap, second last corner. You're right. I think he had to avoid him. So forget the off-track incident. But Gutierrez would have been in the draft. Then gets ahead. Buncombe almost nearly gets it back. I think he may have gone a little bit too late. I couldn't tell if there was contact when he tried, but Gutierrez gets away with it. That's a heck of a start to this series, guys.
I think the problem was Buncombe just tapped the back of Gutierrez on that straight as well. So he lost the momentum and had to tuck back in again to the slipstream. He blew it a little bit there. He blew it a lot more. It was pressure, I think, that got to him. Gutierrez just with the nose on the inside, and he made a mistake.
Well, I think that's almost fair, though, because ultimately Gutierrez would have had the draft either way, and then he went off track. It kind of leveled itself out, but Gutierrez is actually standing by Jack, so maybe you can get his opinion on the whole ordeal.
Esteban, congratulations. What a win right on the last lap. That was stressful stuff.
Yeah, it was really, really exciting. I mean, the whole race from the start, I had an issue with the brakes. My brakes went completely rearwards, and I didn't realize until half of the lap. So I was really struggling in the first few corners. And then I managed to get the rhythm. And yeah, I mean, it was a really, really tight fight until the end. It was tricky, especially at the end when I had to avoid, I had to go into the middle, into the inside of the corner, and it was really slippery on the grass. So, yeah, it was tricky in the last two corners. Very exciting.
Strategy going to be for the reverse grid races? Because that's going to be really tough, isn't it, to come through such a big field?
Yeah, it will be very exciting and challenging at the same time. I think it's a great format. It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting.
Wait, I'm unmuted.
Trying to keep our nose clean to get to the end of the race and get good points.
Cool. Congratulations, Esteban. Great race.
Thanks, and congratulations to Alex as well. Great job, man.
Mute again.
Yeah, great fight between the two of them then. So Esteban Gutierrez, he enjoyed that, didn't he?
I think so.
Everyone enjoyed
that
it
as well. Yeah, I think these cars are great. I love the slightly longer format as well. I do want to point out, I was going to mention it earlier, but you got to it, Jack. The reverse grid is actually based off of qualifying, which, okay, sure, if you have a mistake in the race, that's a bit unfortunate, but it's actually a lot better because it means they've got to go for it no matter what the condition. You can't sandbag and stick to the back and just get a free pass on the next race. So it's nice to see. Just quickly as well with the manufacturers, really good for Merck. Aston had a good job. And of course, Bentley come in with a big score because, of course, we do have all these manufacturers involved now. So it's great to see them with good tallies early on. And that's another battle we've got to watch throughout the season.
Yeah, it's really good to have these teams involved, actually. It adds a lot of legitimacy to the series. Not that it was not legitimate before, but, to see Mercedes coming on board, Aston Martin coming on board, Bentley coming on board, it's really great. And it brings this sort of wealth of drivers, and it creates a narrative, it creates us something to look for as opposed to sort of a load of races and then everyone gets through to the final and then in the final it's the sim races at the front. We've got real stories that will be going on throughout the course of these next 5 weeks.
Well, and of course, that's one of the things coming up because we are going to be looking forward to the next race, which is the Sim Masters race. And they are separate from the pro drivers. And we know that they were kind of separate in terms of I guess, the class of the field in the previous series. However, now they have their own race, so it's not like we're only getting 5 of them into the finals. Everyone's got an equal chance. It does give us a chance to see them all go for it. Again, it's not going to rule out people who don't make it through. It's going to open up this championship and give us more time to assess some of the incredible talent that's in sim racing. So I really like that these guys have their own race to look forward to, and we're going to join that in a second. I'm curious to hear your thoughts when we come back as to who you guys are looking forward to, which will be in just a minute. And welcome back to the Race All-Star Series powered by Rocket Phones. What an incredible first race. Nothing better than a last lap battle to get your hair raised up in the morning, I suppose. Speaking of hair, I've got the Corona cuts issue going on. Maybe I'll get a haircut soon. But we've got our sim race coming up, and that's an incredible thing because now we've got their own race, the best of the best. We get to see them all going all out in Formula cars, which most of these guys are very adept in. And again, DRS, great car developed for this series. I think this is going to be really good.
Yeah, I think we might see the sim racers. I don't think we'll see the domination that we saw from Erhan Yayovsky in the LMP3 car. Like you say, most of these drivers, if they're racing somewhere in online leagues, that kind of thing, they're going to be racing either a Formula car like this or a GT car or a sort of full-on LMP1 prototype. So people like Kevin Siggy, Brendan Lee, are going to be very strong. Interestingly, Dennis Lind and Mike Epps, 2 real-world racers that because of how fast they are, they've been put in the sim racers category because they've been doing so much sim racing that they kind of straddle both, as it were. Petar Berliak is going to be one to watch, the Croatian, and Michi Hoyer as well, the German. Jene Simoncic, the winner of the first race all-star battle all the way back in the middle of March. And as for our 2 head-to-head drivers this afternoon in the sim racing world, we have got Erhan Yayovsky and Rudy von Buren, who are going to be fascinating to watch, I think.
Yeah, it's great that this is the head-to-head. I mean, Erhan dominated season 1, and Rudy van Buren was someone who was very consistent previous to that, and then didn't really get, I guess, was contact in one incident, didn't get through the qualifier, didn't really get it going in the first championship. So that is a storyline because now Rudy can get back into a Formula car, and when we jump into qualifying, maybe get things going immediately, guys.
Yep, so we are looking at a long lap here in Malaysia. 3.5 minutes left on the clock. Here comes Erhan Yayovsky taking a wide line into that final corner to get the best run out down the start-finish straight. This, our reigning champion, across the line, down towards turn 1. And I like the livery, to be honest with you. I like the livery.
That's a Racing Engineering GP2 livery, that is.
Yeah.
Very Spanish flair to it. Nice. Always did like it. Yayovsky then out of turn 2, and that was just so much neater than Bruno Spengler's, and hooked up the apexes perfectly. This is where we're expecting the times to really be at their absolute peak now. These guys, the competition level's so high, they're in their home ground basically. The sim racing is their bread and butter. The pro drivers are more used generally to racing on track or on Formula 1 simulators, and not necessarily R-Factor 2. So this is where we're expecting the pace to be, and it may well be from this man, our reigning champ.
Erhan Yayovsky, I would imagine it's the Macedonian flag rather than the Racing Engineering copy livery, and we'll see what kind of lap time he can do.
Well, maybe the Racing Engineering livery is based off the Macedonian flag.
Wow, that's true. That's true. You've always got an answer for everything, haven't you?
No.
We're watching Brendan Lee in the top right. Here comes Erhan Yayovsky down the back straight. I won't get too bogged down in lap times as they come across, because they are going to absolutely pile in, and they'll be very close together. Yayovsky into the final corner. Whoa, looked like he had a big moment, and indeed he did. Really struggling with the car through the final left-hander. Brendan Lee's going to come across the line in a minute. Yayovsky goes up to second place. It's Jene Simoncic who is on top at the moment. Yayovsky second, Huis third, Romanidis fourth, Marocek in fifth, Capit, Siebel, von Buren, Kastorp and Thoman the top 10. Dennis Lind goes up into 7th place. Really good run there from Dennis Lind. David Greco, I think, might have made a mistake, unless he's gone for... Some of these drivers might do an out lap, then sort of a warm-up lap, and then their qualifying lap, potentially, with a minute left on the clock, because otherwise that's not a good time from David Greco. Here's Alan Terzic, pole position earlier on this season, then jumped the start and was given a penalty, so I'm still waiting for Terzic to sort of come back to the front of the order.
Yep, well, how's he doing on this lap? He's not quite doing well enough right now, but Jone Simoncic was the man that won in the 2012 F1 cars, week 1 in Nürburgring. He clearly likes high-power single-seaters. He's toppled Yayovsky for now. Can Terzic topple him? He can't, by some margin in the end.
Mike Epps comes across the line, was 32nd, and looks as though he might have remained 32nd. No, that's because he hasn't come across the line, has he? He's on the warm-up grid, as it were. So here comes Epps across the line. He was 32nd, now comes across the line, and it's 18th for Mike Epps. Not a bad run for Epps there, as he comes across the line and down in towards turn 1.
Good effort from Dennis Lind, and to be honest, Epps as well. This is a field full of sim drivers. They're real-world drivers, and Lind in 7th. That's a tremendous job.
Yeah, very impressive stuff then, but it is going to be pole position for Jone Simoncic. You have to wonder, though, that little mistake at the final corner for Erhan Yayovsky, without that, he could well have taken pole position, I think.
Are we poised for a great race? Let's see.
Here's the grid. Jone Simoncic on pole position for the first Sim Masters race. Erhan Yayovsky alongside him on the front row. Bono Huis lines up in 3rd place. David Mirotchek is in 5th with ahead of Risto Capit. And then we've got Dennis Lind in 7th ahead of Alex Siebel in 8th position. Further back in the field, in a 9th spot, Rudy von Buren. Bit surprised to see him that far back ahead of Yuri Kastorp. Michi Hoy is 11th and Yuri Toman is in 12th place. This huge field of sim races. There's points all the way down the order. It's worth pointing that out. There's no more top 5 to get through to the final. This is just a kind of regular 5-race championship. Kamil Pawlowski is in 17th. Mike Epps is 18th. Nuno Pinto 19th. Nikodem Wisniewski down in 20th place. The Williams eSports driver. He was the closest driver to stopping Erhan Yayovsky winning the title, and he's down in 20th spot. We have got Brendan Lee in 23rd place. Again, a bit of a surprise ahead of Peter Berliak in 24th. The first Sim Masters race about to get underway in Malaysia. Simoncic on pole, Yayovsky alongside him as the race gets underway. Think we might have had a jump starter further back, but immediately Erhan Yayovsky is the one who gets the jump. Simoncic gets a very poor start. Yayovsky fires off into the lead, and can Simoncic hold on to 2nd place into the right-hander of turn 1 for the first time? He can. Huis is 3rd. Romanidis is 4th. Oh, there's all sorts going on there. Arnie's upside down. He won't be back after that crash. And there's all sorts of chaos at turn 2. Yayovsky out in front. Simoncic 2nd. Huis 3rd.
So Yayovsky then, the reigning series champ, straight into the lead. Bit of a twitch on the power out of turn 3. And he's got Simoncic still right with him. But that's the first part of the job done from Yayovsky. He's straight back into the lead, and it was pretty clean, really, at the front. Van Buren is up to 7th from 9th. I've got a feeling the jump starter might have been Kasdorp, potentially. But there was someone on the inside, I think it might have been Kasdorp, who immediately gained places and looked, for all the world, like he jumped the start.
Oh, bit of a slide there. Just about kept it all together did Rudy von Buren, who's up into 7th place then. I think Yuri Kastorp got out of shape there and dropped back a little as he was trying to fight with Rudy von Buren, who is in 7th place. Risto Capit 6th, Marotchek 5th, Romanidis, Huis, Simoncic and Yayovsky, the top 5 at the moment, and for some reason I read them in reverse order. There you can see Rudy von Buren in the inside in bottom left, and they're all trying to lose a bit of the slipstream of the car behind, aren't they?
That's encouraging because it means the slipstream's clearly worth something. There's a move coming up on the inside there. Who is that?
This is Marotchek. This is David Marotchek trying to pass Michael Romanidis for 4th position. Gets into the slipstream. Can he find the way through? Looks to the outside at turn 1. Marotchek in the green car. Late on the brakes. No, he hasn't done that, has he? What a move from David Marotchek round the outside at turn 1.
Beautiful stuff there, and he made it look quite easy in the end. Stopped brilliantly towards not running too wide and straight through. Lovely move.
Yuri Kastorp, replay of the start. Yeah, just a bit. That wasn't a Valtteri Bottas tenth of a second or whatever it was in Austria.
Yeah, that was. I think that one's a difficult one to argue there for Kastorp. So I did see him making some ground early on, but it was the jump start clearly, maybe a bit trigger happy on the clutch there.
Lap 2 of 7. Erhan Yayovski leading the way. Rudy von Buren we're watching in the top right as he tries to get past Risto Capit. Looks to the inside into turn 9. And that's a fairly straightforward move there for Rudy von Buren. Nicely done. And that is now 6th place for the first winner of the world's fastest gamer. We're on lap 2 of 7. This is the Sim Masters Championship, which is going to be running over the next 5 weeks. And we're on board now with Bono Huis in third. And Simoncic is only 7/10 or so back from Yayovski. He's within DRS range of Yayovski. Huis is in DRS range of Simoncic. So I don't think this is over yet by any stretch of the imagination, as Dennis Lind in the top right is going to now try and overtake Risto Capit. We're on board with Lind down into the final corner. Does he go for it? Yes, he does. Does he make it? Yes, he does. 7th place? Yes, it is.
Easy peasy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Capit didn't look like he had much fight in him there at all. Lind was just ahead by the apex. Capit might fight back with a bit of a slipstream down to turn 1. Is he going to go for a late dive? He isn't. I think Lind was super deep on the brakes there with a bit of a lock-up. But lovely stuff there from Dennis Lind. Up into 7th.
On board with Risto Capit running in 8th place. It is there's a team's, what a replay are we going to see? Oh, this was the move from Dennis Lind. Just decisive and lovely, really.
Yeah, he kept his cards close to his chest, didn't show a nose at all, and I think Risto Capit just wasn't really expecting it. Just stayed on the racing line, didn't brake particularly late, no real challenge, and Lind basically really clean and a lovely move.
So Lind into 7th place, chasing down Rudy von Buren. There you can see Lind having a lot of work at the wheel there in that 7th spot.
Brilliant drift.
Yeah.
Well, that was just beautiful in this car. You wouldn't have thought the car would be quick doing that, but he's closed the gap to Van Buren on the lock stop, basically through turns 7 and 8.
Oh, not anymore, though. He's got a wheel on the gravel, I think, coming into the right-hander, and he's now in the gravel.
I'm just going to stop trying to praise these guys, because the minute I do, they make a bigger error than the good bit just before. Lind there, I think you're right. They just touched the gravel on the left rear, and again was on the lock stops, but this time not able to catch it. So that's a shame there, because he was having a great race, good pace, but all that hard work undone.
The team's championship as well in operation in the Sim Masters, and at the moment it is a good day for AAA Esports, and that is Erhan Yayovski who's leading the way, and Risto Capit who's running in 7th place. Jone Simoncic drives for Burst Esports, running in 2nd position, and then we got some other drivers out there for various different teams. That was the view of Risto Capit, who is now in that 7th place, the Burst Esports teammate of the AAA Esports teammate of Erhan Yayovski, the race leader. So that's going to be another dynamic to watch out for over the remainder of the season as we go on board with Nuno Pinto, a little bit further back in the order than what he would have wanted. He's just done the Formula E race on a Docklands circuit, and now he's here in Malaysia, coming up towards the right-hander of turn 4. Formula E had a race in Malaysia, just down the road in Putrajaya, about a 10-15 minute drive from the Sepang circuit, but there we go. We're not here to talk about Formula E. He's holding off David Greco behind in 21st place, and we're watching Yuri Kastorp in the top right on the inset, trying to close down on Michi Hoyer, who is Simoncic's teammate. So the Burst Esports drivers running in 2nd and 9th at the moment.
Look at that lead gap, though, 4/10. Simoncic is on a charge behind Yayovski. That's going to come down, is it, to just under 4/10 now, with Yayovski and big pressure onto the straight. Here we go then, in screen. Bono Huis has dropped away, and Simoncic now is going to have a great run up to the final corner.
Here they come. Simoncic not close enough. Takes a wider line through turn 1. Is he lining it up for the rundown through the final corner? Is he lining it up for the rundown into turn 1? Yayovski starts lap 5 of 7. He covers the inside. Simoncic goes to the outside. Can he do that round the outside move on the brakes? Oh, nearly. Yes, he has. What a move from Jone Simoncic. Moves into the lead of the Sim Masters here at the Race All-Star Series.
That was brilliant from Simoncic. He set it up really nicely at the final corner, with a later apex, was able to get the drive off the corner and was kind of ahead before the braking zone, but still had to charge across and take the line from Yayovsky. The two were so close, but that was a great move. Yayovsky defended it as hard as he could, really, going to the inside, but in the end, Simoncic just that bit later on the brakes and assertive with his move into the lead. But I don't know if Yayovsky's going to let him go. Look at this, still within half a second through the fast corners here.
He now is going to be the driver with the DRS. Fantastic fight in the Sim Masters. We've got the Legends Trophy coming up next. Just to do a little tease, we've got something super cool coming up for the Legends Trophy. That's all I'm saying. It's super cool, okay? Like beyond cool. Lap 5 of 7. Simoncic leading, Yayovsky second, Huis is third, Marocek fourth, Romanidis fifth. Van Buren has made a mistake, I think. He suddenly dropped down to 8th position, Rudy Van Buren, and Risto Capit's up to 6th. So I think a bit of a mistake there for the Dutchman. Gergo Baldi is now trying to defend his 17th place from Arnie Schoenvleet. Is very close for 17th place, and Simoncic now over a second ahead of Yayovsky, so he's managed to make that gap stick. Here's the look to the inside from Arnie. We're looking at him in the bottom left. You can see the car there as he turns in. They're still wheel to wheel. Oh, there's a nudge, and they both survive just about.
Schoenvleet into the back of Baldi, just tapping, and they're still going at it now. Schoenvleet's on the inside, and that one is looking like a much easier move, with most of it done before the braking zone. There they go, and through goes Arnie into 17th. But either how neither of them spun at that final corner, I don't know. Both held big slides, and then the move was done at the next.
Arne Schoenvleet. There we go. That's the pronunciation, I'm told. Arne Schoenvleet. Lap 6 of 7, penultimate lap of the race. Here's what happened to Rudy Van Buren. Oh, he just lost that by himself. I think he has.
He's Dennis Linded it, hasn't he? In the same corner. I think he's probably just tried to turn in or brake from the curb, and that was what Lind did. We had a lovely shot of it on board with Capit when he was just following him, and I think Van Buren has done the same, proving that the best can do it.
6 of 7. 0.8 of a second between the race leader, Jerne Simoncic, to Erhan Yayovsky in second. Although, as I say that, Yayovsky might have thrown it away. Yayovsky might well be off the road. He's dropping down the order, down to 5th, down to 6th, down to 7th. It's all over for Erhan Yayovsky as far as the battle for the win is concerned. The reigning champion is not going to score big points here today. He's just about got going again in 8th position, ahead of Michi Hoyer and Yuri Kastorp. So Simoncic now has a comfortable lead as he comes out to start the final lap of the race. Bono Huis in 2nd position, and 3rd is David Marocek. Final lap now for Jerne Simoncic, and this would be his first win since the first ever Race All-Star Series race at the Nürburgring, the weekend of the Australian Grand Prix. Here's what happened then to Erhan Yayovsky. Just drifts a bit wide, does he? Oh.
Well, the voice of disgust there from Jack Nicholls, but
no, just like oh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like it was just disappointment. That's the word.
The voice of disappointment there. Yeah. These cars are difficult in traction, and we saw it in the pro drivers. Yayovsky, you wouldn't expect to make a mistake like that. I think that's what the voice is for. From 2nd place, just on the throttle too much on the curb as well, and turning, and he just gave up traction basically. So he's down to 8th place.
Here's Yuri Kastorp in 10th position, getting a bit oversteery. Coming out and across the line, he's right behind Michi Hoyer in 9th. Then it's Yayovsky in front. Yayovsky might lose out here to Michi Hoyer. He's having to defend as they come down into turn 1. Can Hoyer get around the outside of Yayovsky? They're all getting a bit bulked behind Rudy Van Buren, and Kastorp's trying to take advantage. All sorts of opposite lock coming through turn 2. And eventually, in the end, the order doesn't change, but Yayovsky holds on to that 8th position. Simoncic, though, on the final lap of the race, leading the way.
Nice racing between all of them. I think that was all clean as well.
Here comes Jerne Simoncic. Up towards the final corner, through the left-hander, out across the line, and in the Sim Masters race, it is Jerne Simoncic that takes the victory, celebrates by wiggling around, and it's a great win for Simoncic. Huis in 2nd, and 3rd for David Marocek. after a tough fight that between Simoncic and where did we lose Yayovsky? Oh no, he's 8th there on the last lap. So, wow, what a fascinating race that was.
And that could be critical for the championship. That's our reigning series winner, Erhan Yayovsky, dropping from the early race lead, then second with a nice move from Simoncic, but then dropping it on his own down to 8th. That could have big ramifications in a few weeks' time.
Here's a look at the results then. Jurnej Simoncic taking the win. Bono Huis in 2nd place. David Marocek in 3rd. Michael Romanidis with a quiet drive ends up in 4th position. 5th for Risto Capit. Alex Siebel 6th. Rudy von Buren in 7th. 8th for Erhan Yayovsky. 9th for Michi Hoyer. And 10th for Yuri Kastorp. Remember, there's going to be a reverse grid race for the Sim Masters a little bit later on. Yuri Toman in 11th. Dennis Lind in 12th. But come back in a couple of minutes, or stay with us for a couple of minutes, because we've got some huge news coming up in the Legends Trophy, which is going to be the next race.
Well, the king has been dethroned. First and foremost, Yayovsky looked excellent in qualifying, again in a Formula car, and I thought, man, oh man, this guy is just unbeatable right now. But Simoncic took the challenge. What a performance to get by, and then we'll get back to Yayovsky because it didn't really go well after that. But this was a huge win, and Jack, I think he's actually ready to speak with you.
Yeah, let's speak to Jurnej Simoncic, who was delighted as he came across the line, wasn't he? A great fight with Erhan Yayovsky. Jurnej, how was that for you?
Yeah, awesome to have like a car that suits me more than the like heavy and less downforce cars that normal that we ran last event. But yeah, it is the same story as always in open wheel racing here in R Factor 2. You have to save the tires, even if it's like 7 lap race. Erhan destroyed his tires completely. He smoked them in the fast corners, and I just stayed behind him and attacked when he dropped off. And that was
so
it.
Could you see that? You could see, oh, he's using his tires too much here. This will come to me.
Yeah, every corner he was sliding, struggling. So also in before the race, I saw that he didn't have as good pace as compared to myself as in previous rounds. So I knew that I just have to wait and strike when my time comes.
Cool. Well, congratulations. Top of the championship and a great win.
Thank you.
So, yeah, that's interesting, isn't it, guys? Because Simoncic won the first race, which was in 2012 Formula One cars. Then we go to 2-litre single-seaters and LMP3s. He's not happy. Now he's back where he loves it.
Yeah, I think it's very cool that he was able to get that information in the sim and not only see that. That's a very strong mentality. That's a mature head that I'd expect to come from someone, you know, that you've raced with in the real world, Gillian. That's a very, very smart mentality. And like I say, Erhan maybe coming off of sort of LMP3 a bit heavier. Maybe he's used to wrestling the car a little more, and it doesn't work in the Formula cars.
Well, and it's different driving style. It's firstly, Simoncic is obviously quicker in these high-power single-seaters. He was really kind of almost dominant in that first week and Nürburgring in the old F1 car. But it's also then he explained really Yayovsky's problems, the tyre wear. I'm actually surprised that he started telling Yayovsky where he was using the tyres too much. I might have been keeping that a little bit closer to my chest, considering that's probably his biggest rival for the championship. But that's the classic. It's the same in real life. The fast corners, particularly the middle part of the Sepang track, you put so much load and energy through the tyres, you wear them. That's why Yayovsky, I think, ended up spinning a few laps later.
Well, yeah, absolutely. With that, though, we're getting ready for the Legends race. Emerson Fittipaldi took a chance to speak with us about some very cool, interesting news that has to do with it.
You know, we are having this coronavirus globally. It's a big problem for any sport. We cannot get spectators, we cannot have the event. But in motor race, there's a big change. Now we have the sim racing, the simulator race. And look, I'm here racing against top drivers on the Legends race. I'm learning to race on the simulator because everything's very new to me. And my coach is my 13 years old boy, Emo Jr., who is teaching me because he's much faster than the father. But we are having fun. And our Legends race, there was millions of people watching globally, all over the world. And with my age, I'm able to race again and have fun. We are having a lot of fun, and both the races going on simulators. Be safe, stay home. God bless.
Welcome back again to the Race All-Star Series powered by Rocket Phones. Very cool to have so many legends as we get ready for the Legends race. Kind of a boot on the other foot in some ways. You got guys like Emerson Fittipaldi, who is getting taught by his, very young generation in that family where he would have taught them the ropes. And something else that's very cool is that we have one of the most legendary drivers of all time joining us this week. Sebastian Vettel is going to take to the grid for the Legends Trophy, and he's done so very much in part to All in Sport, who sent him a sim rig to get him up and running. And we'll, I guess, see how it goes on. Jack, that's pretty cool.
A four-time world champion. Okay, Emo's got 2. Okay, Jenson Button's got 1. Sebastian Vettel, 4 times world champion, current Ferrari driver, about to race a Brabham BT44B against Dario Franchitti and Jan Magnussen and Emerson Fittipaldi and Mika Salo and Tiago Monteiro and Emanuele Pirro and Juan Pablo Montoya around Malaysia. I'm absolutely buzzing for this. I've only known about this for like 20 minutes or something like that. So I am not mentally prepared.
And you saw it before I did, because you popped it in our production chat, and I was going, what is he talking about? Vettel, there's no way. But yeah, he is here. And you're right, it's so cool that we get to see all these names that otherwise would never get a chance to race each other, go at it. And they're going to do that right now as qualifying is underway.
Okay, so we're on board with Sebastian Vettel in the top right, coming down into the final corner. We're watching Jan Magnussen on the screen as he swings it into the left-hander. And look at that, we've got it's a simple version of Vettel's helmet, but it's still there, isn't it? The black, red and yellow as Vettel comes across the line. Now, these guys are all qualifying in private conditions, so basically they've got the track to themselves. And Jan Magnussen swinging into the first corner, Vettel swinging into the first corner as well. As Matt says, that the race have sent him a sim, Sebastian Vettel, to try and get him involved, and then here he is. So we'll see what he can do. I wouldn't expect him to be instantly a front runner just because of how good everybody else has been in this Legends Trophy. The likes of Magnussen and Button, Jolien, have to be the front runners, I suppose.
I think that's still got to be the case, hasn't it? But you can never. Are we going to rule out Sebastian Vettel? We might rule him out from this lap, because look on the top right there, he got on the curb exit at turn 3 and was heading for the wall. Had to blend out of the throttle entirely. But I don't think we're going to expect him to turn this on and win week 1. Jenson Button, remember, the first week there was a lot of things to learn, and the car as well is so difficult to drive. And Sebastian Vettel is used to driving a 2019 or even a 2020 Formula 1 car now with so much downforce and grip. It's a world away from the Brabham that he's in right now.
It's Tiago Monteiro, the World Touring Car racer, the Portuguese, who's coming through the final penultimate corner and out across the back straight. We'll see the lap times start to fall in a moment. On the left-hand side, Mika Salo's in the pits, so I wonder if he's had a crash on his outlap, which is going to be a little bit frustrating. Tiago Monteiro through the final corner, see what kind of lap time he can do. And across the line comes Monteiro, and he is going to set the first lap time of a 1 minute 56.4. Jan Magnussen is up on that time as he comes out across the line. Magnussen will now take provisional pole position, but there goes Pirro and Franchitti. They're both quicker than Magnussen. Very good lap there from Pirro and Franchitti, and it's Pirro on provisional pole. But here's Jenson Button, purple in Sector 1, up in Sector 2. The man who won the 2009 Malaysian Grand Prix, although he only got half points for it, is coming out down the back straight now. Is he going to put it on another pole position? There he is in the bottom left.
One corner to go. You've got a lot of thinking time as well with this long straight. Got to get the braking point right. He's done a good lap so far as Jenson. Now he throws it into the final corner. Looks tidy. Doesn't touch the curb. That could unsettle the car. Doesn't touch the exit either. That looked beautiful there. Surely he can take it.
Button onto provisional pole by just 0.02 of a second. Here's Mario Dominguez across the line now, and he's into 12th spot. Petter Solberg is 7th. Darren Turner is in 8th. 9th is David Brabham. Juan Pablo Montoya slots into 5th position. Here's Jourdain now coming around the... he's already set his lap time in 18th place, so I think that's going to be the end of it. Vettel in 15th position after this late call-up, and it is Jenson Button that takes pole position. A couple of hundredths ahead of Emanuele Pirro, 2 tenths ahead of Dario Franchitti. That was a very, very close qualifying session.
What a great job from Pirro.
Yeah.
Up in second, and Jenson Button we've kind of got used to as being the benchmark right now, but it's so close, as you said, that they all did a great job.
Oh, Jenson Button on pole position, Emanuele Pirro alongside him on the front row of the grid. And then we have got Dario Franchitti in 3rd. Juan Pablo Montoya is in 5th position. Tiago Monteiro is in 6th. Andy Prio is the first of the no-name drivers on the left-hand tower, so he's in 7th place. And then we've got Darren Turner in 9th spot. David Brabham completed the top 10. Oriol Servio and Helio Castroneves are on row 6 of the grid. Mario Dominguez and Emerson Fittipaldi out qualifying Sebastian Vettel, who's 15th. Tonio Liuzzi is 16th. All of these cars all these drivers in the Brabham BT44B. Salo, Jourdain, Plato and Papis complete the 20 drivers. Not sure what happened to Plato in qualifying, but good to see him out in the race after missing the last round, I think. And Adrian Fernandez in 21st. So the first race in the Legends Trophy, this 5-week series. Oh, as Franchitti jumped the start. I think Dario Franchitti might have jumped the start as they come down towards the first corner. Button and Pirro going wheel to wheel into turn 1. Pirro to the outside in the blue and orange machine. Button in his Brawn liveries goes deep in the brakes, and that is going to allow Magnussen to get up into second place. Is it? Pirro's still holding it in second. The 3 might wipe out, and they do. And Dario Franchitti gets sideways as well. Button's been sent all the way to the back. Andy Prio is in the lead of the race. There's 2 cars in the gravel, and that is chaos. Franchitti up into second place.
Wow,
oh, Franchitti's off. Franchitti's had a big accident with Prio up at turn 4. So Juan Pablo Montoya now leads the race.
The chaos just continues. It's even more now up at turn 3 as well. Button's going to pass a couple of cars. There's
Plato's third.
Slowly. More chaos on the exit of 3.
Jason Plato has gone, I think, from 20th to 3rd position on the opening lap. And round goes Pirro again. Emanuele Pirro living up to his nickname that we gave him, admittedly, and it is now Juan Pablo Montoya in the lead, Helio Castroneves 2nd, Jason Plato in 3rd, Tonio Liuzzi 4th, Jourdain in 5th, Solberg, Magnussen, Turner, Monteiro and Button, the rest of the top 10. Who needs a reverse grid race?
We really needn't have bothered with qualifying there, really. That was just, I mean, pick it out of a hat now for everyone. How Jason Plato has found his way through all that into 3rd place is amazing. Liuzzi as well started down in 16th, and he's up into 4th. I mean, absolute chaos, and it all came from everyone getting a bit excited on the brakes down at turn 1. Plato's just past Castroneves for 2nd. There's another spinning car. That is Castroneves getting out wide. That's why he's dropped down. But yeah, everyone went in too deep for turn 1. Magnussen was a bit ambitious on the inside of Button for turn 2, a gap that was always going to shut, and the 2 favourites came to blows. And then it was just who could find the way around them the quickest.
Wow. So lap 2 of 8. And Jourdain going to the inside of Petter Solberg in their battle over 4th position. Solberg, whoa, that's not stopping, is it? Oh, it is. Jourdain was just early on the brakes, and that allowed Jan Magnussen to get past him. And Magnussen now up into 5th place. So Juan Pablo Montoya leading. It's close between Plato and Liuzzi for 2nd. Then Solberg is in 4th, Magnussen 5th, Jourdain 6th. And there's $25,000 for the charity of their choice up for the winner of the championship for these legends. And this is going to put a banner in the works as far as the championship is concerned, right from the opening race. And I think that I don't know what happened with Franchitti, but I'm fairly sure he jumped the start, so may well end up getting a penalty for that. He's down in 13th place at the moment.
Yeah, Franchitti definitely jumped the start. He didn't actually gain anything from it, but he definitely moved before the lights went out from 3rd place on the grid. I'll tell you what, though, it's a longer race for the Legends as well. 8 laps, and I think we can see some recovery drives, not least from Jan Magnussen as he dives past Solberg. Nice little cutback, though, from Petter Solberg, and he might just get that place back. Oh, no, Magnussen's gone. Exited a hairpin, just got up on the curb accelerating, and he spun again. So, well, his recovery drive's over. I've got to stop jinxing these guys.
Trey Harrison on Twitter says, shout out to Jason Plato, who went from 20th to 2nd without punting a single car off. So that's a brutal one, but there we go. Plato up into 2nd position. Liuzzi was very wide on a couple of corners ago, and as a result, he's now under pressure from Petter Solberg. This is Jenson Button watching Monteiro and Jourdain go side by side coming into the braking zone of the final corner. What can Button do to try and take advantage? He's recovering fairly well. He was down to 10th place, and he could well be up to 5th by the end of this lap, maybe even by the start of this lap, because he's right in the slipstream of Jourdain as they come down into turn 1. And there is, Liuzzi sends it on Petter Solberg, and he gets it done. Well done, Tonio Liuzzi. Nicely worked.
There's a bit of margin for braking for some of these guys, isn't there? Some people have really got their braking zones nailed. Oh dear, David Brabham, I think, was round there. And so he's the latest spinner down at turn 1. But yeah, there's massive differences in braking zones. We saw that last time in Nürburgring, where there was, I can't remember who punted who on the final lap. I think it was Franchitti into Solberg for the lead, but you just don't expect people to brake that much earlier. But some are just that much more dialed in for the big stops at turn 1 and the final corner. You can put a lot of brake pressure in.
3-8. Montoya leading. 5 seconds ahead of Jason Plato, who's a second ahead of Tonio Liuzzi. This is Oriol Servio we're watching in 10th position, former IndyCar racer. Here's Magnussen and Franchitti side by side, and Magnussen gets ahead of Franchitti, coming down into the right-hander, and we're on lap 3 of 8. Juan Pablo Montoya's lead up to 5.4 seconds now ahead of Jason Plato, as Jan Magnussen turns into the hairpin.
Watch out for Jenson Button, 6th place and charging. And here we go. There's a battle for
second.
Is that Plato? I think they're lapping someone, aren't they?
No, that is Plato.
It is Plato.
So Plato in second in the rainbow on the side of the car. Liuzzi in the orange car in third. 4th is Petter Solberg. We're on board with Liuzzi. Plato is over to the right of us. And it is Plato late on the brakes, too late on the brakes. I think he might be in the grass there, Plato. No, he keeps it together. And actually, he's going to get a good run off the corner and come back past them both. So he had lost out to Liuzzi. Monteiro's got past... Solberg's got past both of them and up into 2nd place. Solberg now covering the inside line. Liuzzi goes between the middle of them into the right-hander, and he gets past both of them through the middle. Lovely.
What a move. He's so good on the brakes. Liuzzi. Plato a bit ambitious on the inside of turn 2, but makes it stick with a bit of wheel banging. That's more the Jason Plato we know. And he's up into 3rd place, to be fair. Petter Solberg might be up for a bit of wheel banging back here because he's got the drive and the run up to turn 3, top of the hill.
Into the right-hander they come. Still right together. And they just about survive side by side into the left-hander's going to be a fun one. Does Solberg fancy it around the outside? He does. Beautiful stuff from the World Rally Champion, but that's allowing Button to join the fight because Plato's getting the inside line here into this double right-hander, bails out of it, and we're on board now with Button in 5th. Oh, Solberg's in the gravel, and now Button's in 4th, and now Button's in 3rd.
This could be an absolute recovery drive for the ages for Jenson Button. He's still got to get past Jason Plato, which is no mean feat right now, but I think that might just be it as he goes in too deep at the hairpin. And Jenson Button has gone from pole to being binned off right to the back, and now he's in 3rd place, just a couple of seconds away from Liuzzi, which that's doable in the next 4 laps for Jenson. I think Montoya's got a nice 7.5 second buffer out front, but anything else is possible.
Tiago Monteiro, the Portuguese racer, in 5th place. He's got Emanuele Pirro right behind him now, so Pirro is climbing back up the field too. We're on lap, just about to start lap 5 of 8, so we're half race distance at the moment. Jan Magnussen is behind Darren Turner in their battle over 8th position. Into the hairpin. Oh, there's the nudge. Monteiro into the back of Plato, and that allows Emanuele Pirro through up into 5th position. We're on board with Darren Turner, who's just lost 8th place to Jan Magnussen, but he might fancy a look back down at turn 1.
Pulled out of the slipstream quite early and actually just seemed to blend out of the throttle before going really deep on the brakes there, Darren Turner. Not the more conventional technique, but these are the Legends racers, so I won't comment too much on that. But yeah, Pirro's having a great drive as well, from the front row down to the back as well, caught up in that Button incident. And now he's back to 5th. That's the replay of Franchitti jump starting. But then he backed out of it so much that everyone else sort of carried on past him. I
don't think he jumped the start, though. That's the weird part of it. It looked as though the lights went out. Then Franchitti moved. No one else moved. So he sort of hit the brakes again. But it certainly looked from that replay as though the lights did go out. So that's a bit of a curious one. I'm thinking Nürburgring 99 all over again. Lap 5 of 8.
You got to explain that reference.
The greatest Grand Prix of all time, according to Alex Jakes, and the lights failed. So they had 5 lights on, and then they just stayed on like forever. And Frentzen jumped the start from pole in the Jordan, and everybody else sort of followed him. On board with Sebastian Vettel in the top right, the 4 times world champion. Amazing to have him here in the Race Legends Trophy, and we'll see what he can do over if he decides to stick with us for the remainder of the series, whether he can get up to the pace with the drivers in front. He's about to gain a place here, I think, going to the inside and getting a move done.
Yep, past Emerson Fittipaldi, I think that was, for Sebastian Vettel. This is all good mileage for him anyway. I mean, he's a legend, he's a veteran, and a 4-time Formula 1 champion, but he's lacking miles in sim racing, and particularly these cars, which are a world apart from anything he would have driven even on a simulator before. So there's a lot of catching up to do, and he's about to get 8 laps in, and we'll see what he can do on the reverse grid.
And towards the penultimate corner, the final corner I should say, comes Sebastian Vettel. We're on board with Jason Plato in the top right, who is a second or so behind Tiago Monteiro. This has been a good drive from Plato. Amazing opening couple of corners, rocketed up the order, and he's been fairly solid in that top 5. There you can see Plato in the bottom left, and yeah, I've been impressed with Plato in the race. Pirro makes a bit of a mistake in front. Button is now less than a second away from Tonio Liuzzi in the fight over second place. So I think that's going to be the big fight in the final couple of corners. And Plato, in fact, still has Tiago Monteiro right behind him. And then it's Magnussen and Solberg right behind them.
Great scraps we've got. This is Monteiro coming through past Plato, but Plato's going to stick a nose in on the next right. I don't think that's going to work. Can he get a run down at the hairpin now? Left-hander coming up. And what can Plato do? He's got Jan Magnussen trying to pass both of them on the inside.
One doesn't go, but it somehow has. And Magnussen gets past them both. We're on board with Petter Solberg as he's right up behind Plato. He's trying to get the run on the British touring car champion. There you can see Solberg in the bottom left. Oh, that's a big slide. Just holds it.
Great racing. Great racing. So we've got the 3 front. Oh, thought that was going to be a wipeout for Solberg there on the back of Jason Plato. Came in so hot to the that corner there.
Button on Liuzzi, top right. Button is right behind Tonio Liuzzi in the battle for second place as they come out across the line to start the penultimate lap. Petter Solberg sends it up the inside of Plato, but Button gets the inside on Liuzzi. Side by side into turn 1, and that should be the inside and the second place for Jenson Button. Nicely done. Vettel up to 16th place meanwhile after that overtake on Emerson Fittipaldi. Oh no, surely not. How are these 4 still driving? This is amazing stuff.
I've never seen anything like it. They're 4 wide into pretty much every corner. It's just absolutely incredible. Interchanging positions all the time. Petter Solberg now is the lead of this bunch, with Tiago Monteiro, Jason Plato and Darren Turner now in there as well. And still, they've had the occasional touch, sure, but they're basically racing super fairly and chaotically at the same time.
Turner's just sent one on Plato, so Turner up into 8th. The 2 former teammates in BTCC, if I recall correctly, in the Seats.
Yeah, that rings a bell.
Yeah, I think that's right. Petter Solberg then running in 6th place ahead of Tiago Monteiro in 7th position. Button, as you say, up into 2nd and still 8.5 seconds away from Montoya, so I don't think that's going to work out. Solberg and Monteiro still fighting over 6th position. Solberg goes in deep. Monteiro gets the cutback, is now on the outside. Solberg still there on the inside on the penultimate lap. Oh, not neat through there for Solberg, although Monteiro didn't really take advantage of that and was a bit odd through that corner himself. So Montoya still out in the lead. Button 2nd, Liuzzi 3rd, Pirro 4th, Magnussen 5th, Solberg, Monteiro, Plato, Prio, Franchitti, Prio, the rest of the top 10.
I don't think neat's in Petter Solberg's motorsport dictionary. It's all just sideways as much as possible. He wasn't actually too slow, though. He's managing to hold back Monteiro. And I have to say, as he has another little slide into the final corner, what a drive, what a performance he's doing, holding back veterans of Formula One, of touring cars. Remember, Petter Solberg isn't even a road racing, a track racing driver. He's a rally driver or a rally cross driver. And he's doing a great job mixing it with these guys.
Lovely slide there from Plato. Monteiro trying to get past Solberg again in their battle over 6th position that continues. There's an overtake further back. That was Oriol Servia going past David Brabham. And this is on board with Monteiro. Final lap of the race now for Juan Pablo Montoya, the race leader. And Monteiro doesn't quite fancy it up into 4. Solberg goes in a bit hot. Going to be side by side now through 5 and 6, which is maybe a little bit risky. Does Monteiro send it? He does, but runs out of grip quite quickly.
More brilliant racing, though. Monteiro being on the cautious side, but very respectful side, I think is the better word for it. I thought I was about to curse that as he rammed into back, but he's made a big mistake there down at turn 7, and that might just let Solberg off the hook. Yeah, Monteiro's dropping down. I think he's gone fully wide, and Plato's come through. And who else jumped up as well? Was that Franchitti?
Yeah, and Andy Prio. Juan Pablo Montoya leading the way in the top right. The battle is on for the final podium position as well. Button hasn't got away from Liuzzi, and Pirro has joined this fight. So Emanuele Pirro can see the top 3 in front of him as they come down into the final corner. Juan Pablo Montoya through the final corner wins the Sim Masters race. Emanuele Pirro trying to find room to get ahead of Tonio Liuzzi. Here's Montoya across the line to win in Malaysia and go to the top of the standings. Oh, and Liuzzi's off. Pirro might have biffed him at the final corner. Button 2nd across the line, and it is Pirro, after a very busy race, that comes home in 3rd position. Jan Magnussen 4th. In what has been the topsiest of turviest races. Sebastian Vettel in the end finishes 15th, just behind Tiago Monteiro, who was running in front earlier on. Here's Vettel on board with the German. Brilliant to have him in the series, and he comes out of the final corner for a 15th place spot. Vettel across the line in 15th position. Amazing, amazing, amazing watching him overtake Emerson Fittipaldi. Absolutely, because Vettel, of course, is very much a student of the history of Formula One, and I think that will have been pretty cool for him as well, overtaking Emerson Fittipaldi, who comes across the line in 18th place in behind Mario Dominguez. So, Juan Pablo Montoya taking the win. Jenson Button 2nd in the race Legends Trophy. Emanuele Pirro in 3rd after a bit of battle with Tonio Liuzzi in 5th position. Solberg 6th, Franchitti 7th, Plato 8th, Andy Prio 9th, and David Brabham 10th. And we've been looking at some of Sebastian Vettel's pace. It was pretty good, and it was pretty much matching Montoya. So just that difficult start and qualifying with Vettel, he could be a front runner in time to come. More racing to come in a couple of moments' time, though.
It may not have been the same battle that was Lime Rock with Button at the front and Magnussen, but that race overall, front to back and the whole grid, might have been the best Legends race yet. There was stuff everywhere. The start, I was actually kind of thinking, okay, we've got a different championship, reverse format for qualifying. Button's already at the back. Piro's out of it a little bit as well. I was thinking this might open it up. This might make it exciting. But those guys come back through the field. And Plato's battle with Monteiro and whoever else was near them on the track. Luizzi under braking. There was some awesome stuff that race.
Yeah, it was really good. And we can actually speak to Tiago Monteiro now, who dropped back towards the end of the race. Tiago, we really enjoyed that fight, but it just didn't quite work out for you in the end.
No, it didn't. But well, that's racing. It was fun to be in the middle. Finally, to be a bit more at the front, and especially during the race to be able to fight. Indeed, it was fun with Jason, with Peter. It was a lot of good fights, and in the end, I lost out. I lost a lot of positions, but it was good to be in the mix.
Was there a reason you felt you were more towards the front for this race?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if there's a tire degradation that is big or not, but it felt harder at the end. I did a few mistakes, of course, trying to overtake and fight. And I don't know if I overheat the tires or destroy them a bit more. I'm not sure, but it was definitely harder to hold the car on track at the end.
Okay, well, we really enjoyed it. Good, best of luck for race 2.
Thank you. Good fun, guys. Thank you.
Okay, great. So we can now also speak to Jason Plato, who is joining us. Great to see Jason fighting towards the front of the order. Jason, that start was unbelievable. You were 20th or something off the line, and then you were 3rd.
Do you know what? I have no idea what is going on. It's all a bit frantic. I mean, I think I was an 8th on the grid or something like that. But yeah, there was a bit of contact. From all angles, and I just happened to be in the right place at the right time and managed to slide my way through. But yeah, I'm not on the pace yet. I'm still trying to learn out what buttons do what. But I'm slowly getting there. But I'm just generally. Yeah, I always thought it was pretty average, and now I realise I'm a bit worse than average.
You are up against some real legends, though. Are you enjoying the whole experience?
Do you know what I am? I mean, I'm still trying to learn the sequence of how it goes on, and that, all of a sudden, the program will freeze, and I'm like, what's going on? And then resets happen, but. It is good fun, and whilst it doesn't feel like a car, or maybe because I haven't got my rig sorted yet, the level of concentration and the immersion and the focus, it's not far off,
Great. Well, best of luck for race 2.
Thanks very much.
Cool. So there we go. Jason Plato, loving life. He's always happy.
And I think he's absolutely right about the focus and concentration. I mean, there's times I get out of my sim and I'm exhausted because of that. I just want to point out as well for anyone who may have missed it the first time around, the rainbow livery on the side of his car is actually a tribute to the NHS workers in the UK during this pandemic. So very nice of Jason to show support for them. Obviously, they've been working hard, just as many healthcare workers have around the world. So definitely a shout out to them. But yeah, what an awesome race. I love
also worth pointing out, I think, with Plato, I think the graphic showed him starting in 20th place, but it looks as though he started a bit higher up then in the end. So maybe his first lap wasn't quite so magical. Still a great job, though.
Yeah, still a great job, and we won't take it away. I mean, up to 2nd place even, not just 3rd at one point in time. So remarkable. And the good news is we're about to do it all again after the break. And welcome back to the Race All-Star Series, powered by Rocket Phones. The good news, I guess there's multiple. We've had great action, but the better news is that we're only halfway through, and we get to do it all with the reverse grids now, which means we're going to get tons of excitement. Before we get into that, though, let's talk to the winner of the Legends race, who kind of had the seas part for him. It's Juan Pablo Montoya, I think, Jack, waiting to stand by and talk with you.
Juan Pablo, congratulations. That first couple of corners was crazy busy, and then you had the road to yourself.
Yeah, it was insane. I mean, the problem with these cars, when you touch, the thing takes off anywhere. You don't know where you're going to head out. So I just tried to stay out of everybody's way, and kind of the road kind of cleaned itself. So it was pretty cool. It's always fun. It's always insane. We're so competitive. It makes it a lot of fun. And honestly, it's hard enough just to keep it on the road. When you're driving and, you're sliding and you're looking at, okay, I got 7 seconds, so don't worry. And even when you say don't worry, you're about to go off on every corner.
Okay, great. Well done, Juan Pablo. We'll see you for race 2.
Very, very cool again to hear from Montoya. He's done tremendously well in this series. That said, we're not going to waste any time. Reverse grid. We said this is how it's going to go down. Same championship, much different circumstances as we get back into the action immediately. Cars are already on track for qualifying, so I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to hand it straight over to you guys.
Okay, so reverse grid coming up for the Pro Cup. So no more qualifyings. Pole position for this one. And there you see James Headley in 6th place. Adam Christodoulou, 7th. Daniel Rowbottom in 8th. And this is going to be super busy. A reminder that Gutierrez, Buncombe, and Guerrieri were your top 3 after the first race. We'll see who's going to win this second race. And the points weightings, Jolien, are the same, which is going to be really interesting when the championship emerges.
Well, it means that it's not just all about that first race, very clearly. It means that you've also got to overtake. You've got to keep yourself clean out of trouble. And I quite like it. I mean, I think this race has a huge chance of utter chaos at the start. Let's see how we go.
Okay, here we go then. Alex Buncombe starting in 39th on the grid. These 40 cars get underway, and it's a lot of wheel spin for Anthony Davidson, and he loses the lead straight away. Gabby Chavez has to be considered a front runner because he usually is up in the order. Davidson onto the brakes into turn 1. Everybody piling in. And Davidson holds the lead. Oh, does he for long? Chavez is there on the inside. And eventually, Gabby Chavez gets out in front, James Pull in 3rd, and look on board with Alex Buncombe. It's chaos down at turn 2.
Still fighting for the lead. Davidson's on the inside of Chavez. That's not going to be an easy one for Chavez to keep. And Davidson has the inside and has the lead. So far, all the drivers racing very cleanly, and brilliant stuff at the front from Anthony Davidson, holding the lead from Gabby Chavez, who was a sort of pre-season favourite.
There you can see Anthony Davidson in the bottom left on his rig that the Mercedes gang have given him. And is that Alex Buncombe up into 10th? It is. And he's going to take 3 positions here. No, not quite. I thought that had all opened up for Buncombe. He has managed to get him into 8th place, but he had a bit of a hit there as well. So that might have given him a little bit of damage as he now has to try and get past Aidan Millward coming down into the hairpin. Millward gets a little bit out of shape. Davidson still leading, Chavez 2nd, and Bradley has just got past James Pull. In fact, James Pull's off the circuit, so he's dropping down the order.
Gutierrez as well is up to 12th, and depending on how quickly James Pull can get himself back on track, I think Pull's back on ahead of Gutierrez still. Oh, spin there. That might be Pull again, actually. It is.
Pull the other one as he goes off at the penultimate corner. Someone having a big tank slapper across the road as well towards the barriers. But Buncombe up into 7th, Gutierrez up into 11th, having started in sort of 38th, 39th positions. Oh, round, and that was Sebastian Montoya rotating at the final corner now. So Buncombe up into 7th. An incredible drive. Maybe the championship isn't going to be quite as mixed up as we thought. As we look on board in the bottom left at Aidan Millward, he's wearing a Williams t-shirt this week. He was wearing a Fleetwood Town shirt last week.
Gutierrez is gone. Gutierrez
was that Gutierrez
on the start-finish straight, I think. He must have hit someone, and he's gone. So that's huge for the championship because Buncombe is looking like he can score big points if he can just stay out of trouble.
Oh, we are on lap 2. And, someone else off on the inside. That might have been Seb Morris, or was it Nicky Team?
Johnny Adam, I think.
Oh, okay. 3rd time I could have guessed it, probably. That was going to be my next guess. As we go on board with Alex Buncombe in the top right. He's trying to get past Aidan Millward. So Johnny Adam out of the running on lap 2 of 7. Buncombe right up behind Millward. Looks to the inside into the hairpin. And that's 6th place now for Buncombe. There's a great video that you can find somewhere of on YouTube of Alex Buncombe making up this many places in a real-life motor race at Monza in the Blancpain Endurance Series. It was a phenomenal drive, and he's repeating. It's on this very channel, I'm told. So there we go. It was great stuff from Alex Buncombe, and he's doing the same thing again up into 6th spot.
Yeah, he's got good practice at it then, hasn't he? It's picking your way through in a Blancpain race when there's about 40 cars on the grid, and you can do something similar as someone gets out of shape in the background there. And he's just managed to nail the opening couple of laps here from the back up to 6th. for the championship, this could be a huge score for Buncombe. And where Gutierrez is still 14th, so he's got half a chance of getting some sensible points here still.
3 of 7. Nicky Thiem and Esteban Guerrieri side by side coming down into the first corner. And Thiem was very confident there, moving back in front of Guerrieri, and manages to hold on to that 12th position. Chavez in second. Anthony Davidson has settled really nicely into the lead here, because Gabi Chavez has a lot of pace. He was a front runner in the championship last time out, and he's not getting close to Davidson.
And then Davidson's just he's just ticking away there, isn't he? With good pace, 2.5, just starting to gap Chavez. And then there's a bit more of a gap back to Bradley and then Spengler. But yeah, Davidson's just in a nice rhythm, it seems, right now. Just coaxing that gap back to Gabi Chavez, as you say, who we thought would be quicker. He's doing a good job, Davidson.
Sebastian Priaulx to the inside of Aidan Millwood. Makes the move. Millwood loses a place. Behind the two of them is Philip Eng, who's been very quiet so far today, really. The BMW Works driver. Whoa, bye-bye Millwood. Oh, and Eng's gone as well.
Did they get into each other there? Millwood lost it, and then Eng, I think, might have got caught up with that as well, presumably. As you say, he was having a very quiet day, and that's going to make it, well, less quiet, but more bad. Eng down in 14th, still side by side with Millwood. Somehow they've recovered absolutely together as well. But yeah, that's a shame for Philip Eng, who's had just a bit of an... I thought he might be one of the favourites here, and he's been kind of anonymous.
Race winner in the F1 Esports series, the virtual GPs that they had in Bahrain, I think Philip Eng won. And he's been a front runner here at the race All-Star Series, powered by Rocket Phones as well. Yellow flag in Sector 1, but it's not for any of our leaders, because might be there. Aidan Millwood getting a nudge from behind, and he loses out there. And actually, was that Eng getting a nudge from Yifei? Yeah, I think that might have been. So battles going on throughout the order. Anthony Davidson still leading the way. Gabi Chavez second, Bradley third, Spengler fourth, Di Francesco fifth, Buncombe in sixth place, and not making a huge amount of progress on Di Francesco. But there's Ant Davidson. What a great race this is. 1.2 seconds ahead of Gabi Chavez at the moment. I think Chavez is closing in, but there you can see Davidson in the bottom left.
Yeah, Davidson, he's lost a tiny bit of ground the last lap, but yeah, he's still with over a second margin, more than halfway through the race. That's going to be a shunt from Job van Uytert, and he's just tapped, I think, Kevin Hansen as well. And the two of them go round, and that's a nasty place to rejoin, but Hansen's done it quite well. Van Uytert just way out of control coming into that corner, and biffed Hansen around.
Who's done well here? Seb Priaulx is up into 8th place. In all of the carnage, Priaulx, as well as the likes of Buncombe and Guerrieri, Seb Priaulx has picked his way through and is now running in 8th position, 3 seconds ahead of Nicky Thiem, and he's actually right behind this battle between Richard Bradley and Bradley Smith. Onto the brakes into the final corner. So if these two run into trouble, it could be Seb Priaulx that takes advantage of that. Down the start-finish straight into turn 1. And we're on lap 5 of 7 now. And I think Gabi Chavez has made a mistake, because suddenly Davidson has a 6-second lead over him.
That's going to make him far more relaxed now. 3 to go. Davidson's got this in the bag now. Just needs to keep it in a straight line. Easier said than done, because these cars are so difficult to drive, particularly on traction. And we've seen so many have an error. But Davidson now doesn't need to absolutely wring the neck of his Formula Race car. He can just breathe slightly easier, because Chavez, as you say, has just dropped by about 4 seconds on that last lap.
Replay of Aidan Millwood, and he's going to run a little bit wide here, is he? Or oh, did they both spin at exactly the same time? Synchronized spinning.
Yeah, so they didn't touch. That's Philip Eng behind Aidan Millwood, and that was a perfect 10 for me. Synchronized spinning, you cannot do that any better, I don't think.
So Anthony Davidson leading the race, and he of course drives for Mercedes, and Mercedes AMG Petronas Esports are third in the standings after the first race. Bentley at the top, Aston Martin in second, Mercedes third, but a win here for Davidson. would do Mercedes-Benz, Mercedes-AMG Petronas the world of good, especially at Petronas's home race as well, as someone running a little bit wide onto the grass there, and I think Richard Bradley takes advantage of that, and we're on board with Seb Priaulx, who after his great race is now in 7th position, right behind Bradley in the fight over 6th.
Yeah, I think it was Bradley Smith that dropped back from the back of Bradley, Richard Bradley, but that's why Smith drops another place to Nicky Team. And here we go, Seb Priaulx on to the back of Richard Bradley for 6th place, as you say. Great drive he's having. DRS open, he might have a lunge here on the inside.
Quite close enough. Oh, they both go in deep. Oh, bit of opposite lock for Priaulx. Really wrestling the car. Can he get up into that 6th spot? Alex Buncombe still running in 5th. This is Sebastian Montoya, the 15-year-old who got through to the final last time for the first time. Obviously a different format now this weekend or for the next 5 weeks. But there we go, on board with Seb Priaulx. Again, as he tries to fight with Richard Bradley for 6th spot. It's surely a matter of time though, isn't it? They're on the penultimate lap of the race.
Yeah, you'd think so, though. He's so close through the fast corners. And Richard Bradley, we've got 2 more right-handers and then a bit of a straight where Priaulx might have a chance. He can just keep it tight there. Now, Bradley's going to have to defend this on the inside. And he's not. Oh, he's late on the brakes, though, Richard Bradley. And he might just survive there. Priaulx with the cutback. He'll get a straighter exit as well through the right kink. But Richard Bradley just hanging on. And look behind, Nicky Team is joining this duo. Oh, there we go. Richard Bradley's round. Same corner as the synchronized spinners, and he's looped it in exactly the same way.
So he drops down the order, and Seb Priaulx now is up into 6th position. So Davidson leading, having a great drive. Gabby Chavez 2nd, Bruno Spengler 3rd, De Francesco 4th, Alex Buncombe 5th, Priaulx Team, Guerrieri, Smith, Gutierrez, the rest of the top 10. So Gutierrez had a moment earlier. Oh dear! Tristan Vautier having to take evasive action because someone was sideways across the road, and Vautier manages to avoid, comes back on track, has a collision. Another car goes spinning around, but yeah, Davidson out in front, and Buncombe's got past De Francesco. Well, they're side by side for 4th position. Johnny Adam up in the top right is trying to make places. These races today have been brilliant. I've been absolutely loving this. And here comes Buncombe to the outside of De Francesco. Buncombe in the green car representing Bentley Motorsport. Can't get the job done yet, but he wants that 4th position, which would be great for Bentley in the team's standings. Looks to the outside, coming into 5. Oh, if he can do this, this will be quite the move. Buncombe still side by side, and he's through. Lovely stuff from Alex Buncombe, who I believe is racing off a 4G kind of dongle connection, and he's now up into 4th place.
With a brilliant move there, right around the outside, braving it around Devlin De Francesco. And Devlin there racing very fairly as well. But, Nicky Team's in the wars. He's lost a front wing from the top 10. But, yeah, brilliant move there from Buncombe. Had to be clean as well because the championship points at stake there. He couldn't afford on the last lap to get in a needless tangle. But he did a clean move. It was a brilliant move. And he's up into 4th.
Mercedes driver Anthony Davidson out in front. This is going to be good for them because the other driver, Esteban Gutierrez, running in 9th place. Davidson through the final left-hander, through for the final time, and Anthony Davidson wins the 2nd race in the Pro Cup in Malaysia. Takes the checker flag. What a great drive. And a win from pole position. But Alex Buncombe surely is going to hold on to the lead of the championship as he comes across the line in 4th place. Wonderful recovery drive, having started in 39th place on the grid. 39th to 4th is full quality yeah, really good stuff. Someone's had a spin there at the final corner. We're on board with Martin Plowman up in the top right as he's going to come across the line. I'm loving this new format, and I'm loving these cars. I'm loving this track. I'm loving life, Jolien. I don't love you.
Good. It's brilliant though, isn't it? The whole shebang right now. The whole mixture has just led to a really great day of racing for the pro drivers. The first race was great, last lap, last corner battle, but then the extended race length as well just gives the likes of Alex Buncombe, Guerrieri, Gutierrez a bit more of a chance to come through, which they largely did.
Now here's a look at the results. Anthony Davidson taking the win. Bruno Spengler in second place in the end, ahead of Gabby Chavez. Alex Buncombe from 39th up to 4th. Dylan DeFrancesco completed the top 5. Seb Prio with a great drive from the back up to 6th. Esteban Guerrieri in 7th. Bradley Smith 8th. 9th for Esteban Gutierrez. And 10th for Philip Eng. So, a very entertaining Pro Cup race. We've got the Sim Masters coming next. And then after that, we've got another race for the Legends Trophy. Really looking forward to that. Another chance to see Sebastian Vettel racing.
And how impressive is that from Anthony Davidson? First and foremost, Mercedes, despite not leading the team's championship after the first race, got both wins on the day. That's certainly a massive points haul. And Spengler also coming through for BMW in the second race. I'm just impressed by Anthony Davidson because I've not seen him so much in sort of the sim world that we, or at least me as a peasant at home, in comparison to the Formula One teams, has access to. And he's just come in and absolutely astounded me. Guys like Spengler are very quick, but I've been told as well, though, he's someone that's been since the BAR days with the Honda and then now Mercedes team as one of their sim drivers. So very cool that he's able to translate it so quickly.
Well, let's hear from the race winner, shall we? Anthony Davidson, lights to flag, pole to victory. That was a really impressive drive, Anthony. Were you expecting it to go like that, the race?
You honestly should have seen me a few days ago on this rig trying to get it all up and running. And if someone had told me then that I would have won a race this weekend, I would never have believed them. But I was surprised to start second on the grid as well. It's all been a new thing for me this weekend. Everything was coming at me thick and fast. I made a complete hash of the first qualifying. Or the only qualifying that we had. I didn't realise that the session had actually started. So I got out there too late and then spun on the only lap that I had. So, learning quickly here. But I've never really been a fan of reverse grids, I must say, but I'm starting to reconsider.
Okay, congratulations. You're now officially a championship challenger, I reckon.
Really? Well, okay. Well, I wouldn't go that far, but no, I've really had fun today. I just want to thank everyone for getting me up and running on this thing. Everyone, they know who they are. I was in a desperate situation a few days ago and, I'm up to speed now, as you can see, and it's all thanks to the help that I had. So, I don't want to name any names, but they know who they are. So big thanks to them. And I just want to say it was brilliant fun. Above everything else, in these times that we're in, I think to have proper entertainment like this, is great. I'm getting the same buzz behind the wheel as I do in the real thing. So, we've got to remember at the end of the day, this is entertainment. And I hope everyone watching has had a good time.
Oh, you made the race pretty boring for us in the end, didn't you? So congratulations, Anthony. We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Cheers, guys.
So, Anthony Davidson saying it's all about entertainment as he drives away at the front to win by 6 seconds.
Yeah, well, and in a lot of ways it is. And it's incredible that we get the opportunity to do this. And he jumps in with the pro drivers, the active drivers that are very quick and owns the competition. Rockets has been owning this entire broadcast, and they've got a competition that you can potentially get involved in and own yourself if you want to own, I've said that a lot in this segment, but one of their IO 3D smartphones. So head over to their website, rocketphones.com. All you've got to do is answer the question of who their 2 Formula One drivers are this year for Williams. And if you want to get some earbuds, there's a promo code for that as well. Race offer. You can enter that in. So very, very cool. I'm well impressed by him, especially because he was struggling just with that sim to get up to speed. Messed up qualifying. We've seen that there's a learning curve on how the sim itself functions and works. But very cool that he's able to turn it around and then drive away from guys like Gabby Chavez that were very good in the championship, just last week, Jack.
And can I say, Matt, you absolutely owned that little segment.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Really, really, really strong stuff. No, it's great to see Anthony Davidson up towards the front. And I wonder what he can do going forward. Because like I say, that's a big amount of points for taking the win. But 2 more races to go today. Looking forward to them. Next up, it's Sim Masters.
The Race All-Star Series powered by Rocket Phones continues, and we do continue with some more legends, more Montoya, more Vettel as well coming up. But first, we go back to the best sim drivers in the world, and it's their turn for the reverse grid. We know how competitively close these guys are. So a reverse grid for these guys opens it up completely to maybe people who didn't get it right in qualifying that are certainly capable at race pace, Gillian.
Yeah, I'm actually fascinated to see how this is going to go, really, because they're so tightly packed always that the field is so competitive. I kind of think this one might be the most sedate of the reverse grids that we're going to get, but the level I'm sure will be high. You've still got Simoncic, Jajowski coming from the back. Let's see what they can do.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And of course, well, you say Jajowski coming from the back, but obviously he was pole sitter, so reverse of the qualifier, right? So you consider that he had the mistakes in the race. You'd think that would usually give them a chance. It's not. He still has a hard job to do no matter what, which I like. I like that it's a little bit more punishing and you can't sandbag the first race. You've got to go for it. And we'll see exactly how they make out as we get into it, Jack.
Yeah, but with Kevin Siggy starting on pole position, that is going to be a really tough ask for anyone to stop Siggy because he can be so quick on his day. Will today be one of those days? Daniele Haddad down in 9th place, the Italian. Peter Berliak maybe with an outside shot of taking the win. He's in 10th position. Kuba Brzezinski in 12th position. Then we've got Lucas Blakely, 13th. Nikodem Wisniewski in 14th. And again, this is a huge grid. So those front runners from race one of Simoncic, Huish, Marocek, they're going to be a long, long way back in the field. We're not going to see them for a long time until we get into sort of the mid to late 20s on this grid. So the cars are lined up on the grid, ready to go with Kevin Siggy on pole position. Rudy van Buren starting in 25th place. David Greco is third as the race gets underway. Down towards turn one, and I think Kevin Siggy's got a reasonable getaway. We're on board with Borja Milan coming into turn one. It's side by side for the lead, getting squeezed up towards the inside line, and Zviers goes through, but he runs wide. Siggy gets back underneath. David Greco is into 5th position. I think Siggy got pushed out wide. Alan Terzic has got up into 3rd place. Peo Pev is in 4th spot after he has joined this race, having won the Formula E Sim Racers race earlier on today. So Pev doing double duties and up into 4th. Here they come into turn 4. Are we all safely through? Rudy van Buren's not. Goodness me, what happened with him there? And was that one of the Simoncic? I think that might even have been Simoncic that van Buren had that collision with. But it's Zviers out in front. Siggy, Terzic, Pev, Greco, the top 5.
Yeah, Zviers was super aggressive in turns 1 and 2. Van Buren's going past more stricken cars further back. But yeah, Zviers super late on the brakes into turn 1 and then just elbowed Siggy wide really at turn 2 and made first place his own. So he's got the lead, but only just for now. Super close.
Lap 1 of 7. This reverse grid race in the Race All-Star Series powered by Rocket Phones. And this is the reverse grid Sim Masters competition. These are some of the fastest sim races in the whole of the world. Probably the fastest sim races, to be honest, in the whole of the world. And there is Kevin Siggy in the bottom left, running in 2nd place under pressure from Alan Terzic behind. The top 3 have really broken away, haven't they, from Peo Pev in 4th.
Yeah, that gives Terzic and Siggy. We said before how quick they are. Siggy now tucked in behind the slipstream of Zviers. He's going to have a chance down at turn 1 potentially. Zviers defends. Siggy, can he do it all the way around the outside? Is he going to need to? Sold the dummy.
Side by side for the lead, and it is still Zviers who holds on in front of Kevin Siggy. As they come down now, up towards turn 4. Kevin Siggy coming up into the right-hander. He races for Team Redline along with Rudy van Buren. And the race leader, Jordi Zviers, is a single event qualifier, so we might see him in all the races, but he has to qualify for it every week, basically.
He's doing his best right now to hold back the more regular drivers of Kevin Siggy and Alan Terzic as well in 3rd. And as you say, they've broken away from Pev in 4th. And then there's a massive gaggle back, including pretty much the entire rest of the field. But nice chance for Siggy and Terzic to not have to worry too much about the drivers behind them. And they can just attack Zviers, who's going to be under huge pressure for the entire rest of the race because Siggy's so quick. And I don't think he's going to go anywhere.
Kasper Stolzer in the gravel. And that promotes a few drivers up places. I think Yuri Kastorp now up into 10th place. Brendan Lee's running in 8th position. We're on board here with Kevin Ryan, who's in 9th spot at the moment. This now is Peo Pev just in front of David Greco as they come down towards the final corner. Peo Pev, the experienced Bulgarian. Whoa, Greco's so late on the brakes into the back of him, and the classic nudge pass at Druids, that, and Greco's up into 4th.
And I think that explains why we're seeing a few broken front wings, because that was pretty aggressive and pretty hard into the back of Pev there from Greco. And he might well lose the place. He might lose 2 places because Brzezinski's coming up the inside as well. There's contact again. And in all of that, Brzezinski, I think, has made it up into 4th, has he?
Correct. So Kuba Brzezinski up into 4th, Greco 5th, Pev, Lee, Millen, Ryan, Kasdorp, the rest of the top 10. Mike Epps still running in 29th position. We're on board with Kuba Brzezinski up in the top right, the Williams esports driver. Great to have Williams entering a team here for Kuba Brzezinski and Nikodem Wisniewski. And there is Peo Pev in the bottom left. I noticed this earlier, he's a real sort of leaner towards the screen, really leans forward.
Yeah, I like it. Intent. I mean, that's not a racing position anyone in the real world would ever have. The unorthodox lean forward rather than the lean back, almost completely laid back that the drivers have nowadays. But, each to their own. Works for him. He's doing a solid job.
That's Pev's setup is very different to Darren Turner's setup, which we'll be having a little bit of a look at later, so make sure you keep your eyes peeled for that. Brendan Lee racing for the Mercedes AMG Petronas esports team, running in 7th spot at the moment, trying to get past Peo Pev. Down into the final corner. Lee, a 2 times F1 esports champion. Four of 7. Lee on the inside of Peo Pev, and that is 6th place now for the man from Reading.
Pev didn't defend that one at all. That was simple pickings there for Brendan Lee, who's done a nice job there. And Pev is the man that started at the front and is dropping back more than anyone else. Got a whack from David Greco on his way, but now down to 7th from an early 4th place. And now he's got another load of cars that we're looking back at, who are going to be the next on his case. So it's going to be an uncomfortable 7-lap race, this one, I think.
4 of 7 for Milan. We're watching there up in front of Yuri Kasdorp. I'm keeping an eye on... So there's Simoncic and Jajowski up into 14th and 15th now then. Just seen them pop up on the leaderboard. 14th and 15th for Simoncic and Jajowski, who were... Simoncic was the race winner in the first race. And there you can see Yuri Kasdorp right up behind Milan. Svia's still in front, only 2/10 ahead of Siggy. So here comes Siggy for the lead. So that's going to be a fight to keep an eye out on, especially as they come down the back straight, because they are very, very close together. Milan's still holding on to that 8th position. Yuri Kasdorp trying to find a way through. There's Alan Terzic we're on board with in 3rd place. So look at this, the top 3 all together into the final corner, and this is going to be quite the fight as we start lap 5 of 7 now. Svia's ahead of Siggy, ahead of Terzic, 3 for the lead. Siggy and Terzic are going to have DRS on the run down into turn 1. Siggy can't find the inside, has to go to the outside, but he's almost got it done before the braking. Oh, he fires it in. Jordi Svias absolutely fires it in on the brakes. Siggy looks like he might hold the place still. They run a little bit wide. They're going to be 3 wide here. Terzic needs to be careful not to get wiped out by the 2 of them in front. Still, Svias in front. Siggy to the outside, and here comes Alan Terzic to the inside in the yellow car. Can he take both places? No, somehow Svias holds on. He's on the grass, but now Terzic gets alongside. 2 positions in 1. Alan Terzic into the lead. Still on board with Siggy, who goes around the outside at turn 5. Lovely stuff.
Brilliant racing there. Wow, what a move from Terzic on the inside. I think Svias was so busy defending from Siggy that he completely left Terzic basically unmarked on the inside. So nice move from Terzic. Svias was so aggressive to Kevin Siggy, more than I think we've ever really seen from these sim drivers. But he was elbows out lap 1 and then was so late on the brakes defending turn 1. just tipped Siggy into a sort of half spin. It all allowed Terzic to close and then pass. Siggy really kind of didn't do a lot wrong, but just fought so hard with Zviers that Terzic from third slingshotted past both of them.
Start the penultimate lap of the race. Romanidis completing the top 10 at the moment. We'll keep an eye out when it rotates through, but let's have a look at this. This is Nikodem Wisniewski. What's he up to? Oh dear. Oh dear. And that is like, oh my goodness, it just keeps going. And that is the worst start to a Grand Prix that I've ever seen in the whole of my life, is what that reminds me of from Spa 98. On board with Jordi Zviers, down into turn 1. Terzic, he was in third, not really fighting, like he was with the leaders, but now he's disappeared. He's a second up the road from Siggy.
Yeah, he just chose his moment where Siggy and Zviers started fighting. I think Zviers maybe he's lost the tyres. We heard Simoncic, who won the non-reverse grid race, talking about the importance of basically keeping your tyres in check. And I think maybe Terzic has done a bit of that. And Zviers suddenly dropped back into the clutches of Siggy and Terzic and had such a huge fight with Siggy that they both compromised each other. Terzic through. Now a 1 second lead, as you say, looking pretty good suddenly.
Zviers also a dab hand at Photoshop, as he did quite a few of the liveries for this weekend, supposedly. So, and livery painters are always a very important part of any sim racing community. And I will thank Doug Hilliard, who has sorted out my helmet for my upcoming race on Tuesday, and Scott Mitchell's helmet as well. Thank you, Doug.
What's your helmet?
My helmet is really cool. It's like white. It was designed quite a while ago by a guy called Stuart Fields. But anyway, Jordi Zviers is off. After praising his Photoshop skills, he's down behind Yuri Kastorp. Michi Hoyer is now in 8th position. Peo Pev 9th. Romanidis 10th. Is Dennis Lind running in 15th position. Up behind Lucas Blakely, the Scot, who we're on board with now. But yeah, that's a real shame, actually, because Zviers was doing well. And Brendan Lee now is up into 4th position. We're on board with Dennis Lind, both in the game and in the bottom left, as he looks to the inside of... No, Blakely covers the inside. Someone's having a big lock-up in front. And it's 3 wide. And Simoncic takes them both. Jurnej Simoncic goes past Blakely and past Dennis Lind. And Simoncic now finds himself up into 14th place.
Yeah, nice move from Simoncic, making progress from the back of the field. Lind's also going to pass Blakely, so Blakely's lost 2 places in 2 corners as they head onto the brakes for turn 1, unless he can keep a nose in at 2, which he can't. And yeah, Simoncic, Blakely into the back there of Dennis Lind, and both got away with it, and Lind in fact found another couple of car lengths. But yeah, good move from Simoncic, making ground, and he's our championship leader, having won the first race. He's got to try and pick up as many points as possible from the back, and he's doing that with a move like that, 2 in 1.
On board with Michi Hoyer now, who's up behind Jordi Zviers, coming into this double right-hander. That's the do you see the smoke coming off the tyres there? That's what Simoncic was talking about earlier. That's when you're really on the limit of the tyres, is when they start to sort of visibly smoke, which is obviously not realistic to real life, but it's a way of visually... You have to do it a little bit in games to give you visual clues to something that normally you would have, you know, a feeling of.
Yeah, just. I mean, trust me, feeling the tyres overheating in fast corners is a very difficult thing. I think we'd love to see a little bit of smoke coming off when you're going too quick in race conditions. But here we go, Terzic, final corner.
Alan Terzic out across the line, and he wins race 2 in the Sim Masters. A really good drive, a really good overtake for the win. Kevin Siggy from pole to second, and Kuba Brzezinski with a really strong run to finish in 3rd place. Here's Bono Huis. He's the top of the front runners from race 1, I think. He comes across the line in 12th position, having finished race 1 in 2nd place. So he might well be one of the championship front runners when we get to the points tables a little bit later on. So many cars, so many... I know I keep going on about this, and I love sim racing and all of that, but I'm loving this. The amount of cars, the amount of competition, the type of cars, the type of circuit. It's all coming together. This is beautiful stuff.
Yeah, Yayovsky only 23rd, and that rewards overtaking as well as just outright pace and victory in race 1.
So Alan Terzic takes the win. Kevin Siggy in 2nd place. Kuba Brzezinski 3rd. Lee in fourth, David Greco fifth, Yuri Kasdorp in sixth. Jordi Sveers unlucky after a great run towards the front of the order. He dropped back down the field, did Sveers. And then we've got Michi Hoyer, Peo Pev and Michael Romanides completing the top 10 in the reverse grid race of the Race All-Star Series, powered by Rocket Phones. But next up, we've got our final race, and it's the Legends Trophy reverse grid. Sebastian Vettel's going to be in it. He's going to be at the front of the order. You're going to not want to miss it. We're back in a couple of moments' time.
Well, you're absolutely right. Vettel's coming back up soon, very, very soon, in fact, and is going to be nearer to the front, given his qualifying performance. Goes to show you the seat time is important. The more you get, the faster you are. Even a guy of his caliber, it's going to take some time to get up to speed in the sim. But I'm agreeing with your sentiment, Jack. That was an incredibly good race. And Julian, you were spot on. This was the most sedated, I guess, reverse grid, in that a guy, Kevin Siggy, who started at the back of the order on qualifying pace, probably an error, given we know Siggy's potential, goes on to be a front runner throughout. Alan Terzic finally gets the win that he was deprived of due to a penalty at Sebring way back in the first championship. And Huis only made it back through to 12th as the best of the front runners from the first race, because it's just that competitive all the way through.
Yeah, it wasn't super sedate. I mean, we still had 3 wide for the lead and the win and the argy-bargy all the way through. But it was more sedate. And the thing is, the depth and quality in the field is so high. And that's why you see, to be fair, Anthony Davidson did it in the pro race, drove away from the front. But it is difficult to do when they start in reverse qualifying order.
Very difficult. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these cars do have DRS. It's a great circuit. I mean, there's just so much draft. There's so much potential. The breaking points are big. Like I say, this Malaysian circuit does have pretty much everything. And we're seeing as well, although the team's championship mostly applies to the pro guys, Mercedes having a good day now that Bono Huis has obviously joined over to Mercedes AMG Petronas esports team. And his teammate is actually someone very adept in the sim world. He's actually a 2-time esports Formula One champion. And he's actually Brendan Lee, if you want to give him a name. Jack, I think you know him well. I'll let you do the honors.
Okay, good afternoon, Brendan. How was that race for you? Was qualifying not great, but in the end, a decent result for race 2?
Yeah, well, qualifying, I made a mistake on the second to last corner, lost half a second there. So qualifying wasn't good. Then race 1 was a subsequent result of being in a bad grid position. Then race 2, we made up a good few positions off the line and kept on fighting all the way through. So it was a good result in race 2.
And did you come from, everybody knows you from, the F1 esports. Did you come from Codemasters and the F1 game to R Factor 2, or were you sort of in the sim world and then to F1? Which way around did it go?
Codemasters to here.
Okay, and how's that transition been?
I mean, it's pretty normal, isn't it? Because a sim's a sim. You're driving a car. Like, yes, some physics models are different, but at the end of the day, you're pressing pedals.
Easy as that. Thank you very much for joining us, Brendan. Now you can see Brendan's nice little setup there. This man, Darren Turner, has a pretty serious setup.
Darren Turner, one of the Aston Martin racing drivers, and I'm also competing in the Legends Trophy. Unfortunately, I don't have my own rig at home, but I do have a simulator company here in Banbury, Base Performance Simulators, so I do get to use a professional racing simulator. So come and have a look and see what I've been using in the last few races. So this is the control room. Normally it's full of drivers, race engineers, but during this lockdown, obviously we're not having any customers here at this point, so I've just got my wife doing a bit of filming, and I've been coming in on weekends to sort of be able to compete in the Legends Trophy. The big room for the simulator, it's a single-seater that's based on a Moog motion platform. We're running an XAP racing steering wheel, a Bodner steering motor itself, and we've developed our own pedal box in there as well. So that's what I've been using for the last few Legends Trophy races as well. I've really enjoyed it. It's been great to be part of the championship. Just a little bit about the visual side as well. It's a 6 metre wide screen, 180 degrees with 3 projectors running the image. But this weekend, another race. Hopefully I'll be towards the front of the pack. I had a really good race at Silverstone, really enjoyed the first one, but it's been a bit challenging since then. So I'm looking forward to a good result this weekend.
Well, very, very impressive setup. I think we've seen everything so far in this All-Star Series powered by Rocket Phones. All the way back to the start, we've had controllers in the case of Villeneuve, but now you've got what is arguably the most professional sim we've seen yet with Darren Turner. And we don't get to see sort of the behind the scenes of what a Formula One sim looks like, but there are these third-party companies, as he runs Base Performance, that help train the younger drivers in the junior formulas as they get up and pretty damn close in terms of telemetry. And as he said, engineers sit there. Gillian, I imagine you've had some experience with these before you made it into the Formula One world.
Yeah, I've been there to Base Performance. It's a really highly professional outfit. And that is basically what a top-line simulator looks like. Some of the absolute F1 simulators, the manufacturer simulators that spend hundreds of millions in Formula One, they have the finer details still. But that's a very good simulator that basically young drivers will come in professional racing and use telemetry, find data, find little driving techniques that they can use to improve. And also it's good for learning setup tricks as well when you've got limited testing mileage.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing is seat time. I mean, sim does give that to a lot of people who, you know, you're young and you're in karting, you might have a race every 3 weeks in some cases, and you don't get to fine tune in between. Now, Jack, you can jump on and get better. In my case, I don't get any better, unfortunately. But maybe someone like you could. Obviously, like I said, we've got a ton of different setups. It does still come down to driver, as we've seen. Emanuele Pirro has been playing on a camping chair. We'll look at some of the different setups that they've had now. But yeah, camping chair for him, and I think a G27. It is still very much the controller behind the wheel that has his own destiny in his hands.
Absolutely. I mean, there's there's a lot of money you can spend on these things, but I think there comes a point where it is all about the driver. There you can see Jan Magnussen getting ready to go. We're about to get underway with the final race in the Race All-Star Series powered by Rocket Phones. And we've got Jan Magnussen there ready to go. There's Adrian Fernandez all set, focused, doing some practicing before the race gets underway. And you can see all these guys have got fairly serious setups, you have to say. There's David Brabham. He's got his setup in the lounge. That's controversial. Usually these are in some back room that no one sees. There's Andy Prio. His son Seb Prio did a really good job in the race earlier on as he gets ready to take to the start. And,
looks like Seb's actually just sat behind him coaching a little bit as well. I think we saw the same with Petter Solberg, so it's kind of cool to see that they've got an audience within the room. And Max Pappas, who's probably running, if I were to guess, one of his own developments with the steering wheels from Max Pappas Innovations. And of course, don't forget the star of the show. We've got Sebastian Vettel back on track near the front as well. So I'll, there you go. Second row, in fact. Okay, P7. So we're already a little down the order in this running, but super cool to see him up near the front. We'll see how he gets on, Jack.
Yep, Vettel's pace was pretty good in the first race. He had 2 crashes on lap 1 with various different drivers. So I think that's what put him at the back. But from then on, his pace was pretty decent. And in fact, the lap times I saw on the server, he was okay. So we'll see what he can do. Race winner was Juan Pablo Montoya. He starts 16th on the grid. And then you've got the real fast drivers out at the front, which were Button, Pirro, Franchitti and Magnussen. Can they climb up through the order throughout the remainder of this race? So let's see what happens in the final race. It is race 2 of the Legends Trophy. This championship will run and run over the next 5 weeks. Sebastian Vettel is 7th on the grid. Adrian Fernandez starts on pole as the race gets underway. Pappas in 2nd, Plato in 3rd. Immediately Liuzzi moves to the inside. Vettel's got a clean getaway. Jan Magnussen hasn't though. And I think David Brabham might be upside down. Button we're on board with in the top right. As he sends it up the inside, off goes Liuzzi. And Vettel's up to 4th already. And then it's Andy Prio behind him, but Fernandez, Plato, Pappas, Vettel, the top 4. Fernandez very wide. That could give Jason Plato an opportunity to lead the race. Vettel's under pressure from Andy Prio. Turner, Serbia, Solberg. Oh, big slide for Prio, and he's going back across the track. Whoa, everybody avoids him. That was a close one. Fernandez out in front.
Yeah, somehow everyone avoided Prio losing it completely across the track, including Magnussen up to 8th, Button up to 9th, and Montoya up to 10th already. Huge gains amidst a bit of chaos further back, and they're 3 that we've got to watch out for coming through, as well as Sebastian Vettel up in 4th from 7th on the grid. And 2 of those places with 2 people wiping each other out into turn 1, but he's made someone else, he's made it past someone else, and now he's on the defense.
Turner then coming up into third place at the inside of Vettel. Vettel gets the cutback though and holds on to third position for the time being. The two go wheel to wheel and Vettel is still in third. Is he? No, Turner's got the inside. Vettel almost getting hit from behind. Two people went spinning further back. I think that was Franchitti and Montoya, those two old rivals who once finished level on points at the top of a kart championship, as in the American kart series rather than actual go-karting. But Turner in third. Solberg in fourth now, ahead of Sebastian Vettel. Button's got it all involved in the business, and I think Vettel might have dropped down the order.
Yeah, I think he lost it turning into that corner there. Tricky right-hander, and he looked like he was just oversteering, and there he is rejoining down in 19th. So, yeah, just turning in, and probably with a bit of brake on as well. And these
Button's round. Up in the top right, Button has been spun at the final corner, so he drops down to 11th place. Didn't see what happened, but just looked up and he was facing backwards. Now he just punts Liuzzi off the circuit. Vettel down to 19th place. That'll be so frustrating for him. Fernandez in front still, Plato second, Turner third, Solberg fourth.
Yeah, so Button then rejoining in 9th place, still with Liuzzi having a little nose in on the exit of turn 1. But yeah, I didn't see that at all, where Jenson Button lost it, but he did. I was busy looking at Vettel rejoining. And in all of it, Plato's up to second, Turner third, still behind Adrian Fernandez leading.
Oh, lap 2 of 8 on board with Max Papis as he comes onto the brakes into turn 4. 13th spot at the moment. Emerson Fittipaldi is behind him in 14th position. Adrian Fernandez doing a good job out in front at the moment. And I think that's Franchitti in 12th, who's trying to get past Mario Dominguez for 11th place. Big slide for Franchitti. Finds the inside now, and that should be job done. A little bit of wheel banging, but Franchitti is through. As he heads now towards 10th place, Tonio Liuzzi. Darren Turner on the inset in the top right, running in third. And Fernandez is pulling away here from Plato. Everybody's kind of spreading out at the front at the moment. Still very much the early stages, though.
Yeah, I mean, who to look for really coming through? Fernandez doing a good job. Plato was quick. Well, he was high early on, but not that quick. He ended up dropping back a bit, and now I think he's dropped it, hasn't he? Plato's tumbling down the order. Turner up to second, Solberg third, and Plato seems to have recovered in 7th.
So Adrian Fernandez out in front. Good drive this. Turner 4 seconds back, and then it's he's right with, or Petter Solberg is right with him, I should say. As we see the replay then of Jason Plato. Oh, just losing the rear. He nearly held it as well.
Yeah, that looked pretty similar to Sebastian Vettel as well. Just the oversteer into the corner. It was going before he touched the curb, and that's the same corner as well as Seb. So shame for Plato. Was running second, but these cars are tricky to drive. They oversteer like mad, and Plato last man to find out.
Adrian Fernandez leading the way. And former ALMS champion in 2009. Second place in the 2000 kart championship for Adrian Fernandez. Has been a big help in Sergio Perez's racing career as the 57-year-old Mexican. But we're watching Emanuele Pirro in 6th, trying to get past Jan Magnussen in 5th, and Magnussen himself is trying to get past Oriol Servia in 4th. So a nice little fight here between those three, and the blue car behind them is that Juan Pablo Montoya rejoining the fight after a spin earlier on. So Montoya getting back into the fray. There he is in 7th place, coming up to the back of the 3 cars in front. A reminder that the first race and the championship as a result goes Montoya, Button, Pirro. And at the moment, they're Pirro, Montoya, Button in 6th, 7th and 8th.
Yeah, all doing a good job of recovering. And Montoya is all over the back of Pirro. They're all bunching up behind Servia for 4th. And Jan Magnussen as well is in this championship chase. He's doing a good job as well, up in 5th. So 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th really, all with the good potential to move forward, and all a bit stuck up behind Oriol Servia right now in 4th.
Down the back straight. Pirro in the tow. Does Magnussen fancy the move? Oh, big slide from Darren Turner in 2nd place. That's going to bring Petter Solberg a little bit closer to him. We're on board with Jan Magnussen top right. Can he get past Servia this time? Coming down into turn 1. He's gone to the outside of the Spaniard. Former Indycar racer, former Formula E racer as well. And Serbia, oh, Magnussen turns in. That's a bit rude, and I think Magnussen might have been fired off there. Pirro's in front of him now. Did Montoya get through as well? No, so Magnussen managed to just about carry on.
Yeah, Montoya is now through on the exit, though. Yeah, you're right, he just turned in there on Oriol Serbia. Didn't get the move done, and if you can't get it done on the brakes or the straight, you can't just turn in assuming that your rival's gone. He was still there, and Magnussen there has himself to blame. And Oriol Serbia as now Emanuele Pirro is the next challenger just behind. It doesn't get any easier for him because still they're lining up just behind. Magnussen all the way down to 10th place now.
Sebastian Vettel we're on board with is up into 12th, and he is, despite that moment, he's only sort of a couple of seconds behind Dominguez and Magnussen. So this will be a fascinating... What's the gap between Vettel to Magnussen now is 1.5 seconds. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how far away he is at the end of the race. He's got to get past Dominguez first, which that's an interesting line into the first of the two right-handers. And I think he'll be ahead of Dominguez pretty soon. Down towards turn the hairpin. Not quite close enough.
Dominguez in a bit hot though. Now Vettel might just be able to slide underneath him at the apex. We look back. That's not Dominguez, is it? Where is Dominguez in all of this? Vettel, he's past him. So that's Mika Salo as well coming past Dominguez. So Vettel up to 12th. And now, yeah, we can see 1.7 seconds to Jan Magnussen, both with a bit of clear air in front. Let's see Vettel's pace, because he had that spin early on. We haven't quite managed to see what he can really do yet.
So here's Petter Solberg in third place, still fighting with Darren Turner over second. Out onto the start-finish straight again to start lap 5 of 8. So we are at half race distance now in the Legends Trophy. And
he's going to go inside her. Someone coaching him, just literally pointing
I saw
him
that.
where to go, isn't he?
Yeah. You don't think that's... oh my God, why have I forgotten the name of Petter Solberg's son? Come on. Can't think. Lap 5 of 8. I've got to Google it now. That's really annoying me. He's an American rallycross racer. But there we go. Lap 5 of 8. And Turner and Solberg still battling over this second place. And it's allowing Adrian Fernandez to get away fairly well. Here's a replay of Sebastian Vettel. And I think this is a replay of his move at the hairpin up the inside of Dominguez. And Dominguez made that fairly easy for him in the end, didn't he?
That's where then Vettel got back through then, because I was surprised initially. You look back and couldn't see Dominguez, but he couldn't get round the right-hander. He was so tight, and that right-hander looks like it should be easy flat. It is in modern Formula 1 cars, but not in these.
So Oliver Solberg is Petter Solberg's son. There we go, got there in the end. Thank you for those of you who have texted me about it. Lap 5 of 8. And Fernandez leading the way. Turner second, Solberg third. Pirro fourth still, fairly lonely in fourth position. Montoya and Serbia are right together. They're the two cars further back from this pack, but we'll stick with second and third at the moment because it's getting very close. Montoya, out on the grass on the exit of the penultimate corner. Keeps it all together. What can Solberg do down into the hairpin? Nothing yet. Fernandez doing a really good job, actually. We haven't seen him racing at the front. Way, there goes Montoya. Sends it up the inside of Serbia, but then slots back in behind.
Yeah, couldn't make it stick. Super ambitious. He's going to get the slipstream again, coming down the main straight here. Serbia knows it and is defending immediately. And where's Montoya? He's alongside. He's ahead coming down to the braking zone, and he's later on the brakes for good measure as well. If he can just get it back for the inside of turn 2, that'll be job done for Juan Pablo. And gives Serbia a little clip as well as he goes through. So nice move, up to 5th. And look at Pirro. Pirro's quickly catching Turner and Solberg as well. Pirro passed Oriol Serbia the lap before and is catching the battle for second.
Lap 6 of 8. Fernandez out in front, but Turner, Solberg and Pirro now right together on circuit, as you say. Juan Pablo Montoya a little bit further back, even though he's got past Serbia. Looks like he might not have enough time to join the fight. Turner super late on the brakes at the hairpin. It's allowing Pirro to close in, and we know that Pirro is a robust overtaker.
Solberg wide of the apex there. This is going to allow Pirro a good chance. He's getting a bit scrappy. You can see him in set fighting at the wheel rally style, and that is not the quickest way to go. And Pirro now opens up this corner a lot more. He's going to get a much better exit, you'd have thought, and he's going to have a great run at passing Petter Solberg down to the final corner.
6 of 8. Here is Mika Salo in 11th place. Sebastian Vettel is in 12th and hasn't really dropped too far behind Magnussen. And what's happened to Pirro? What's going on here up the inside? Pirro tried to get past Solberg but couldn't pull it off. They're still wheel to wheel. We're on board now with Emanuele Pirro, the Italian, coming down the start-finish straight to start the penultimate lap of the race in this reverse grid Legends Trophy. What can he do? Looks to the outside. Tries to send it all the way around the outside. That's going to be bold. Can't quite pull it off. All of this is allowing Darren Turner to settle down a little bit in second place. Look at that. He's already miles up the road now.
Yeah, just one lap ago, he was under pressure from Solberg, but Solberg might have to defend more from Pirro here, up towards turn 3. And Pirro, if he fancies it on the brakes, might have a look. Now he does. Surely that's too hot in, and Solberg's going to cut back underneath him, side by side into the left. But Solberg doing it. This is brilliant racecraft from Petter Solberg as well. Something he didn't know he had in his locker.
7 of 8 on board with Pirro. You can see Solberg in the bottom left. Can Pirro find that podium place on the last lap, which I think would put him to the top of the championship, to be honest with you. He'd certainly be up there. Maybe not actually, because Montoya's only one place behind him, but it will be close between Montoya and Pirro. Button, I'm not quite sure where Button has gone, or / why he hasn't recovered quite so well as some of the others. Maybe more
Button
incidents
dropped back
for the 2009.
a while ago. He dropped back a few laps and lost some ground. Solberg's about to drop back because, again, he's done the wet line around that corner. Doesn't like the apex there. And that always leaves him under a big pressure from Pirro. And Pirro might have a little look at the inside. This is always a cheeky move if you can get it. But again, looks to the outside to try and open it up. Look at Solberg just rallying towards the exit, drifting the car again. And he's still ahead of Pirro. Penultimate lap coming into the final corner. Not a lot of overtaking chances left if Pirro can't make it through here.
Holds it for the moment. Oh, he's got in a bit deep there, Solberg, and now's that Pirro. Has he got it now up into third place? Yes, he has, but Solberg is right behind him. He knows he's made the... Go to the inside! Go to the inside is the message! And Solberg ignores it, goes to the outside on the run down into the first corner, and he can't get through. But that's some serious driving advice there. The pointing, would you? That's great. That's race engineering to a new level.
Yeah, it's the co-driving that maybe he's used to it, but for everyone else, just seeing someone pointing where you should go must be so distracting. But not for Petter Solberg. I mean, to be honest, it looked like he completely ignored the advice anyway, but still getting it. And he's going to have, well, we're on the final lap. I think he should be clear from Juan Pablo Montoya behind. So it's just whether he can get back to the back of Emanuele Pirro before the lap's out.
So yeah, Button in 8th place at the moment. Fernandez leading, Turner 2nd, Pirro 3rd, Solberg 4th, Montoya 5th, Servio, Liuzzi, Button, Franchitti and Magnussen, the rest of the top 10. But a reminder, this is only the first race weekend in of another 4 weeks of racing till the end of May. And it's really going to be entertaining. Oh, Solberg sent it there, and that's overcooked it. And that now will be 3rd place, surely, for Emanuele Pirro. Up through the final couple of corners comes Solberg. And I think he's just gone in a little too hard there. But Adrian Fernandez out in front. What a drive this has been from the Mexican. Absolutely calmness, easy personified. Wonderful stuff from Fernandez. And look at the smile on his face. He knows he's just got one more corner to the win. Down to the gears, into the final corner. Adrian Fernandez wins the Legends Trophy race in Malaysia with the Race All-Star Series. And he is delighted with that one. Huge smile on his face. Darren Turner 2nd. Pirro in 3rd, just ahead of Solberg. And then there's Tonio Liuzzi across the line in 7th. And 8th for Jenson Button. And then Montoya and Turner have had a shunt after the line. And Liuzzi's got into Fernandez and all sorts of chaos. But Fernandez, a win from the front.
Yeah, who saw that coming? I mean, it was a great drive, completely unflustered, really good pace. Ahead of Darren Turner, who also, he had his mirrors full for most of it, but Fernandez's pace was really, really strong there.
Here comes Mario Dominguez out across the line in 15th place. Sebastian Vettel finished in 12th position, which, again, there's pace in there for Vettel. He can be a front runner. Here's a look at the results. Adrian Fernandez with the win, Turner second, Pirro third, Solberg fourth. Button recovered to 8th position with Franchitti and Jan Magnussen completing the top 10. So let's now hear from the race winner, Adrian Fernandez. Adrian, congratulations. A really good race from you in the end. You managed to get clear of all the chaos behind and drive away.
Yeah, well, that's what didn't happen in the first race, and I'm very glad it happened this time. And I don't know who was trying to pass me on the first lap, on the first corners. But then I managed to break away, and it was about being consistent and stay calm, not make mistakes. As you can see, these cars are not easy to drive. But I'm very, very excited. I haven't felt like this in a while. You know, I'm 57, so it's like I'm coming back.
That's great stuff. Are you feeling like you can get more towards the front in this field now? Because you've been doing it a couple of weeks.
Yes, you know, there is a lot of little things that you can, improve. Juan Pablo Montoya has been helping me a lot. We are neighbors here in Miami. And, I'm learning a lot about this and getting better and better. You know, the field is not the same field in the real life as this. So you have to get used to your rig, your steering wheel, your pedals, and things like that. But I'm getting better. And, this is a great boost. So I'm very happy. Here, celebrating with Luna and my wife.
Congratulations. Adrian Fernandez, race winner again.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So Adrian Fernandez, the winner of the reverse grid race. That was really, really good stuff. I'm not, without wanting to exaggerate, and I'm going to get in trouble with other sim racing people that I work for, but this has been my favorite sim racing event that I've done in maybe ever. The grid, the cars, the size of the entry, the quality of the drivers, it's been absolutely brilliant. And we're going to have more reaction to it when we come back in a couple of minutes' time.
Well, what a race it was. I couldn't agree more with you, Jack. That is kind of interesting as well that he's neighbors with Juan Pablo Montoya. So the neighborhood's pretty successful today, considering they won each of them, both Legends races. Also interesting to note as well that in 2012, when Adrian Fernandez was third with Aston Martin, his teammate, this is at Le Mans, of course, in GTE, his teammate was Darren Turner, who was right behind him in that race. So pretty cool similarities. Lots of teammates, actually, when you look through that Legends trophy. I mean, we make a comparison of Vettel having 4 championships going against Fittipaldi, who you never would have seen in the real world. But then there's lots of guys that have raced together. So there's all kinds of storylines within that even.
Yeah, it was really great to see all those drivers on the grid together. But all the grids today I've really enjoyed. And that's not that I haven't done before, but we've had some quiet races with sort of 15 cars in little 2-liter, single seaters. And they've been good and they've been fun. Don't get me wrong. But today felt just really proper across all of the grids. They're all split out into their own classes. There's championship points. It means something for all of them. I'm honestly buzzing about next week.
The track here is really good. And that's what lends itself really nicely to the racing as well. The reverse grid, we've had a perfect blend. But between the Legends all getting better and better every week still, and that's where I think we've got Vettel will get quicker and more competitive if he continues. But yeah, the track here was perfect for it as well. Loads of tricky corners, long corners, but switchbacks, big braking zones. It's a beauty.
Well, and I was going to go to you and ask, because that reverse grid for the Legends, considering the accidents and incidents in the first race and Button and Magnussen going back through the field, we kind of expected the same thing. But that was the first time we've seen some of the other names near the back be so successful. Don't forget as well, Rocket Phones has a lot of stuff going on and a lot of involvement for you guys as well. Head over to their website, rocketphones.com. All you've got to do is enter the contest, is enter a question as to who their 2 Formula One drivers are on the Williams team this season. And you're entered. That's it. You're in. And if you want to get some earbuds as well, there's a promo code for that race offer. So check that out. But I was surprised. It was nice to see some different names toward the front. And I also want to give a shout out to Petter Solberg to finally have a nice clean weekend. I know he's had some troubles in the past, but he was smiling ear to ear in some of those battles, guys.
He had some great fights, you have to say. Him and Darren Turner right together, but I would not be happy if I were trying to overtake someone and I'm getting someone do this right by the side of my head.
I tell you what, though, I think Solberg's rate of progress is maybe the highest of anyone. 2 weeks ago was his first time. Last week he was already right in the mix, and this week he's like on the podium.
Yeah,
he's
absolutely.
fighting right at the sharp end in both races.
Well, this has had to have been one of the best the Race All-Star Series races that we've had, powered, of course, by Rocket Phones. Yeah, from start to finish, I think the best action we have had as a complete day. We've had highlights before, certainly, the Button Magnussen battle. We've seen some incredible performances from individuals throughout. We've had drama, but this had everything all at once, all on a Saturday while we're all kicking back at home. Perfect entertainment, I would say.
Yeah, it's been absolutely wonderful. And to see Sebastian Vettel racing, and like Button, it's cool, right? And I'm a huge Button fan. I've probably got some Button stuff behind me, embarrassingly. But, a Button, great, cool, amazing. Emerson Fittipaldi, legend. We've got a real-life current Formula One driver, championship contender, race winner, 4-time world champion racing in this Legends Trophy. I mean, it's just unbelievable to have Vettel along.
Yeah, I think it's very, very cool. Gillian, you've obviously raced against him in his Formula One days. You think you could hold a candle to him in sim?
Do I think I can? Well, look, I'm still waiting for the invite to the Legends Trophy. He's got it. He got all the gear flown straight out. But
if Anthony Davidson doesn't qualify, then I feel like he might not.
I'm supporting, I'm with you, Joe. Okay, he's gone. Just delete that camera off the screen now. Look, I've been on his side. I want to see you in there too. I did give a shout out to Petter Solberg. It was great to see him battling, and you said it as well. You didn't know that sort of the track side of the racecraft was in his repertoire. We're used to seeing him go sideways, kicking dirt out behind him and being very successful at it. Obviously great car control, but he was very good today in the Formula cars as well.
Yeah, I think he's really strong. And honestly, with more and more races, he's only going to improve compared to the whole field is improving. Adrian Fernandez, Darren Turner had a really good race as well. You saw really when you had Jenson Button, Jan Magnussen, Juan Pablo Montoya, they didn't charge through the field like it was just easy peasy for them. They got stuck when they came to most people, really. So it's a good job. And Petter Solberg, for me, is one to watch.
Yeah, and with a backseat driver as well, Jack. So maybe we could find out about that.
Yeah, well, let's check in with Petter Solberg now, shall we? Petter, congratulations. A really entertaining race. Oh, Oliver's with you. We saw Oliver's hand being like, go this way, go that way, Dad. Was that annoying or is that really useful?
I hear Oliver more than the engine noise in the car, I tell you. It's incredible. He's so, he has so much passion, keep right, keep left, and brake earlier, brake later. And but it's honestly, it's great fun. I'm a retired driver like most of the guys, and this enjoyment that you guys have made is incredible. And with help from Oliver here, for sure, it's actually a big help.
You're getting more towards the front now. I mean, you know, the first time you raced, you sort of missed qualifying. You won the reverse grid last time, but it feels like you're getting more and more competitive with the guys.
Yeah, for sure. It's learning. This circuit racing, you're braking differently, and you have to be very careful with the downshift, especially with these cars. It's incredible. Sometimes it's like a Mark II Escort, when you're coming out of some corners. But at the same time, it's a good challenge. I'm 45 now, and I still have the passion and sweating, and my hands is like full of full of rubber from the steering wheel. But it's great, and it's fantastic. Vettel came in also to start this with us and enjoy. I think it's great.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much, Petter. Congratulations. Really enjoyed watching you race.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
And well done, Oliver, as well. Co-driver extraordinaire there. So, Oliver was one of the standouts for me at the Goodwood Festival of Speed last year. Absolutely poons his car around. It's unbelievable what he does at the wheel there. But I think it's only a rally driver that could be taking that kind of do this, do that. I think if you were trying to do that to Juan Pablo Montoya, I think he'd, get a little bit frustrated with you. I think you'd break your head, to be honest.
You may not have an arm left at the end to keep doing that with. If it was
exactly.
You are right. Even just playing some of the rally sims, it's difficult to listen. So that is a skill. We'll take another break, and we'll be right back with the results from today. And to those of you sticking with us online, thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure today. Back to that point, I've done some other rally sims on the computer, and the co-driving, you hear it, but you don't process it, and almost it gets distracting until you learn how to deal with that. So that's actually a really good point, Jack, that he would be, of all the people, the one perhaps most suited to have the backseat drivers, shall we say. But I think rally drivers in general, they're a different breed. Their car control and reactions are just ridiculous. I wouldn't make it very far, I don't think. We did have a great day. For me, one of the cool standouts was Luizzi diving between two cars that were in a battle late on the brakes. But for you guys, I mean, you saw it all. There's got to be some standouts for you all across the board.
I think that's the difficult part, is picking one thing. Alan Terzic's move in the sim race, where he took two people to move into the lead, was really impressive in the Sim Masters. Let me look at my little bit of...
I'll jump in. I enjoyed race 1. Gutierrez and Alex Buncombe, the last lap.
Yes, good point.
For the win. I mean, we've had great races for the lead, for the win in pretty much every race. But that's really set the tone. Last lap, Gutierrez hunted him down. Big mistake. They're both side by side into the final corner. Who's going to win? We don't know. It was good stuff.
Yeah,
we're
that was
really
an
looking
awesome
forward
battle.
to seeing the championship tables in a couple of minutes, because when we bring them up, it'll sort of bring the whole weekend into focus, and then next week we'll be like, right, these are the guys that we're going to watch out for, and we're not going to have Hanya Yovsky run away with it in the sim series, and we've got series for all of these people, the pro drivers and the sim drivers and the legends all get their own championship. And how's Vettel not a highlight also, by the way?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that is a great point. I think you're absolutely spot on with that. And you're right. It is good that the pro drivers and sim drivers, as much as I'd like to see them battle and see the progress of the pro drivers and get that direct comparison, it's nice to see them have their own space and their own championship. The other thing that we need to mention as well is that not only do we get to follow the drivers for this, we get to follow the team's championship with Bentley and BMW, Mercedes, Williams, Venturi. They're all coming into this. It's very cool to watch and to see their support. What a great day for most. If you want to follow it, and you should follow it, if today's any indication, make sure you follow at We Are The Race on Instagram, on Twitter. Hit subscribe down below this channel and go check out the website. Tons of articles over there. Jack's got a podcast that I've heard a million times about. You're welcome. I'll save you the trouble, Jack. And there's so much content over there to absorb while we're all sitting at home looking for that entertainment. So very, very cool. I just can't wait to see where the results actually are, because there was some big names near the front today, but a lot of different ones, which I think is great for the championship. So hopefully we'll get to see those in just a second. Incredibly great start to the series at the Race All-Star Series, of course, powered by Rocket Phones. And the reason I say it's an incredibly great start is because we had a number of different people near the front. Nothing is predictable in terms of the points tables, and we'll get to look at those very quickly. But that is a perfect start to a 5-week championship as it is, especially with reverse grids and all kinds of different circuits, which we don't even know where we're going to end up yet. Well, at least I'm sure the series knows, but we find out as we go, which makes it a little less predictable in that way as well, Gillian.
Yeah, honestly, the whole thing has been completely unpredictable today. Really, the sim races, the main race, maybe Simonchich and Yayovsky, fine, they were maybe the favourites. The other races, the Legends race, Jenson Button was on pole, but by nothing to Emanuele Pirro, who's taken a big return to form. The pro races, Alex Buncombe must be leading that championship, and I wouldn't have predicted it. So, I mean, the form book's up in the air. There we go.
Alex Buncombe leading the Pro Cup Championship for Bentley Motorsport, but he's only 4 points ahead of Esteban Gutierrez and 10 points ahead of Esteban Guerrieri, Gabby Chavez in 4th, Eastwood 5th. Anthony Davidson, with that win, is up in 6th spot. So that's great stuff for Anthony Davidson. And great job from Alex Buncombe. As far as the teams are concerned, Mercedes are at the top there with that run from Gutierrez and his teammate, Anthony Davidson, who I was just talking about, at the top of the standings. Bentley in 2nd, Aston Martin 3rd. So the top 3 are fairly close. As far as the pro sim drivers are concerned, in the Sim Masters, Jurnej Simoncic just 4 points ahead of Bono Huis. Kuba Brzezinski in 3rd in the Williams, tied on points with Michael Romanides. And then we've got Risto Kapit, Kevin Siggy, Michi Hoyer, Alex Siebel, and Alan Terzic completing the top 10. And as far as the teams are concerned, that's going to put Burst Esports in the lead, ahead of Mercedes, AMG, Petronas Esports. Thrustmaster Racing Team are in 3rd, Team Redline 4th, Singularity, AAA, Williams, and Team Silverstone completing the top 8. So, but again, a huge amount of points after just one day of racing in what is going to be a 5-round series. So great to see the points there for the Sim Masters. As far as the Legends are concerned, there's no teams in the Legends trophy, but it's Juan Pablo Montoya that's at the top of the standings, 4 points ahead of Pirro, 8 points ahead of Button. And I mean, what a championship table, Jolien. Like, what a load of drivers.
Yeah, really, really good. And it's still close as well. Petter Solberg, 4th, right there with Darren Turner. Liuzzi as well. Liuzzi had a good day today, much more competitive, as was Tiago Monteiro, the XF1 drivers. All to play for.
Yeah, and you make a good point, Jack, because a lot of points were given out today, but there is a lot of points on each day. So some of those gaps can be closed very quickly. Great day overall. I'm stoked that we have a championship for the next, 4 weeks now, but a 5-week championship that's this exciting on week 1. The cars look to suit these guys. The names are getting bigger and bigger. Vettel was involved today. He will be hopefully back next week, and we hope you will too. Stay safe at home, everyone. And from everyone here at the race, thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you then.
Welcome to the race.
And the lights are out. Great start then.
The Moto2 champion steps into the team that's dominating the championship.
I'm Scott Mitchell from the race. We're here at Barcelona.
Sebastian Vettel is fighting for his career.
There has to be a title assault, and anything less will be a failure.
Oh, and a spin!
You're off to go, bro.